You're listening to the Cantina Cast, your home for thought-provoking Star Wars talk. Join Albert and Jonesy in breaking down the latest news, trailers, movies, and of course, your favorite characters from a galaxy far, far away.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cantina Cast. My name is Albert Padilla, and this is a bonus episode where tonight we are going to take a very, very close look at the new Kenobi teaser trailer that just came out this week, and dive into the EW, Entertainment Weekly coverage, footage, pictures, news article that was also released this week. This has been a long time coming. We knew it was just around the corner, and if you listened to our Patreon episode last week that we made kind of public to everyone, we kind of hinted that all indicators were saying that this was going to be the day yesterday. That was the 9th was the day that we were finally going to get the trailer, and it turns out that was true. So lots to talk about, and we don't have a lot of other news other than Jonesy's here, and he's going to help me with this, believe it or not. So Jonesy, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm doing. There's a first time for everything. Me being helpful for a change. So
Stop.
I look forward to this. No, this is cool. I mean, something actually panned out right on time, and man, you can't ask for more than that on a Wednesday, kind of out of the blue. It's out of the blue for me because I completely forgot about it after a whole week.
Yeah. And I meant to get that show out earlier, and just life got in the way. So it's funny. I think I released it that morning that the trailer finally came out. So hopefully you've had a chance to listen to that one. It's just a bonus episode. It's got myself, of course, Jonesy, and Utini. So Dante DeMille is on. He's been on the show before. But we kind of were waxing just all things theory, speculation around Kenobi. And some of that stuff, I don't know. Well, I get to be determined as to whether or not we got any of that right.
I think it's
some
trending
of
in the
it's
right.
right.
I think it's trending in the right direction. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I mean, some of it makes a lot of sense. So
hey, stop it! Don't steal our thunder.
I know I have to poo-poo on everything we actually get right. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. All right. Well,
it's important to be humble, Albert.
It is. Humble is good. That is a trait that's worthy of a Jedi. Sorry,
yeah. If only we knew one.
Yes, and we don't.
We don't.
But we do know. Oh, let's get into one quick. One quick announcement.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sure. Oh, so we were really excited to be invited to guest on Tarkin's Top Shelf, which of course, longtime friends of the Cantina Cast with Mike and really coordinators. So Becca and Mark invited us over to talk some High Republic and some. Really the whole first phase, and we only got about halfway through. You and I talked before that show. We did the recording, and we're like, "Wow, this is the show notes just had every single book listed."
Yeah,
we were like, "Are we really going to go through every single one of these?" Well, more or less, yeah. And so many that we actually had to call it at part one due to time constraints. You guys are shocked. I know that we actually went
long-winded. Us?
I know, but can you imagine 4 people geeking out about High Republic stuff? I mean, it was doomed from the start, and we were really trying to hurry through some of it. But a lot of fun. Episode 185, I think it's called the High Republic Junket. And so again, Mark, Becca, Albert, and myself just kind of talking everything High Republic, things you've probably heard us super excited about, things that didn't work, but also getting their take on it and having a different perspective and kind of merging those perspectives is a lot of fun. And I tell you what, you are not going to find a person who can remember books like Becca Benjamin. I'm sorry. There's just no one who has a memory like she does when it comes to some of this stuff.
Yeah.
And so she's incredible to listen to, and Mark's a great host as well, and so much fun. So please go check it out. Tarkin's Top Shelf, episode 185. And we hope you guys enjoy it. And then look out for part 2, which we will do hopefully in the next few weeks to a month, definitely before Celebration.
Yeah, we're going to record that one still. And it is very much a retrospective look at phase 1, beginning to end.
Is it phase 1 or wave 1?
No, phase
Which one is it, Albert? Have you made up your mind yet?
Yes, it's phase 1. I had to write it. I've got a sticky note. No, I'm kidding.
Wait, hold on. You writing it down is actually going to help you remember, because I put the title or the episode number on the top left screen.
I know, and
week,
I screw that up every week too. So, hey.
I love you.
It happens.
You know that, right?
I do. But yeah, it is more of a retrospective look at phase 1. So It's a lot of fun. Can't wait to record episode 2 on
Yeah,
that one.
it's really cool to look at it all in totality like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you really can put everything together and move back and forth. It's very,
We were
it's very
so young and
dynamic.
naive when that launched, and now we're withered and crackling and
Seasoned veterans
yeah.
of
Okay.
war and Jedi. Okay, yeah.
All right.
New Patreon subscriber though.
We do. Isabel Shaw has joined us, and she is at the $5 tier. So thank you, Isabel, for joining Patreon. Your support and the support of everybody else, honestly, means a whole lot to us and is very, very helpful for us to kind of keep doing, paying the bills for all this stuff that we're doing here. So thank you so much for joining.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's we've had a nice little run lately, and you guys are always awesome supporting the show. So we definitely appreciate it. And again, everything you guys give us gets put right back into the show. And hopefully you're enjoying the extra content. If you're interested in joining Patreon, patreon.com/thecantinacast, you can go out there and check out what we have available. And I was intended to post some of the things that we had coming up because we've actually got the next few weeks planned, but this threw a wrinkle into things. So we've got to kind of retool the schedule a little bit here before we get ready for celebration. But
Yep.
we do have a rough schedule of everything that's going on. So we'll give you guys a little preview here shortly.
Yeah, we're not just making this up. We got a plan.
We definitely don't make it up on
Solid
the fly.
plan.
Ever.
No, never,
Great.
ever.
It's going to be perfect.
We have a review also that came in. So thank you, Sandwich Guy J.
This is Qui-Gon Jay in the chat usually. Yeah.
Qui-Gon J. If he's here, hey buddy, thanks so much for going out and taking the time to write this. Let's see. He says, fantastic show, 5 stars. Always enjoy the deep dives from Albert and Jonesy and all the Star Wars content, but especially the books and comics. Hard to find that kind of dedication in podcasting community. May the force be with you, Qui-Gon J. So. Awesome.
I'd love Qui-Gon Jay because he spelled my name right.
He did.
He did.
Yeah.
A lot of people will spell it Jonesy.
Jonesy.
Jonesy. It's just Jones with a Y at the end.
Yeah.
That's great. Anyway, no, thanks for the review. If you'd like to leave us a review, iTunes for you iOS users like Albert, certainly that's kind of the most prominent one. Oh, get that fist down. You don't really care. Yeah, you do. He's a fanatic, folks. But yeah, iTunes is a great place to do it. But really, anywhere you see the opportunity to leave us a review or retweet something on the social medias, it's always appreciated and always very helpful in getting the word out. And if you guys like what you hear, just tell a friend. That's all we ask. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
If you don't like what you hear, we'll have you talk to Mike.
Yeah.
Hey, if you don't know who Mike is, you're lucky. We love Mike too. Ish.
All right. Let's want to say hi. Shout out to everybody that's in the chat. Jonesy's writing names down. Hopefully by now.
Nope.
No? Okay.
No, like you, I haven't learned my lesson yet.
But there are quite a few people with us here tonight, as expected, given such the big news that we have. Okay. So let's stop yapping here and let's start talking. I want to start with the pictures and the EW article that came out. So I don't know if you guys have had a chance to read the article. There's actually like 2 or 3. There's one primary article that came out from Entertainment Weekly, and then the other ones are kind of smaller, rehashed versions of that one, right? So you don't necessarily need to read all of them. The one that's got the photos has probably the most content. And we're not going to get into the behind the scenes stuff, but it's a very, very good well written article about just how they went out and went after Hayden and what the production looked like, the pre-production work and all of that. We'll touch on a little bit of that here, but please go take the time to read it. Especially if you're a prequel fan, I think this really kind of pulls at your heartstrings just to kind of read all that and just getting that first, first person views, I guess, of like somebody like Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen and what it was like to come back on set. They get into all of that stuff, which is really, really fun and phenomenal. So
what I liked about it though was the candidness, and it was rather brief, but
yeah,
that candidness of Ewan after the criticism that Phantom Menace took and how that impacted him and kind of his take on Star Wars. And then the same with Hayden Christensen after episode 2. And so it's really cool to have them open up about that, but also see the resurgence. And you see the cyclical nature of all this stuff, right? Where the kids that grew up with the prequels, all of a sudden they are the ones that they attribute to basically, kind of giving them this energy to even be interested in this kind of project.
Yep.
And so again, we've kind of talked about this before with the sequel trilogy. In 10 years or so,
yes,
it's probably going to have a very different vibe to it based on the kids who grew up with this compared with the folks who were our age when the prequels came out.
Yep.
Our age when the sequels came out. when we were the age of the prequels. There we
Yeah,
go.
I'm tracking.
Yeah. I had
But
to
no,
get
you're
my-
right.
I had to get like my the string out and put the
Yeah.
nails on the board. Yeah, it's quite tricky.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like this is, and we've said again, I don't want to toot our own horn, but we've said this over and over again. Even though people, as much as the discourse is out there around, all the new Star Wars content coming from Disney and whether or not this is quote Star Wars or not, I mean, all that's just irrelevant. That's somebody's opinion, and at the end of the day, all you need to do is look to the youth and see how much they're enjoying this content, and understand that you may not like all of it, you may not like any of it, but the fact is, Disney's doing what they wanted to do, and there are a ton of new Star Wars fans that are going to come up through the ages. And so we're going to, retrospectively, we're going to come back and look at this stuff, and it's going to be through 3 different lenses at that point. And it's going to continue.
It can be very interesting. Yeah.
It's generational, right? It's
It
really
is.
what
And
it
now
is.
you got all this stuff in between. So it's going to be really cool to see how this stuff evolves. But
Yep.
like you said before, we've waxed on a little bit about that. Let's kind of get into the content. I didn't realize this was Entertainment Weekly's last physical issue.
Yes.
That's
No
being
more, no
printed.
physical. Yeah, going to digital only after this one.
Yeah,
And
I
what a
had
way
no
to
idea.
end. They ended
Oh, I
with,
know, right?
this cover here.
Well, and strongly recommend you guys go out to Entertainment Weekly and look at the cover, because it's kind of what the High Republic show does with, that you have like at the end of the show here that we do with the 3-dimensional type of look. And they did that with the cover of the magazine. It looks really cool too.
Right.
So worth a peek.
But yeah, in total, just some stats that I pulled out of there. 41 covers is the total. They've done 41 Star Wars covers in the history of the print run of Entertainment Weekly. And it all started in 1997 with the special editions that released. And I don't think I have those. I have some of the episode 1, but I don't think I was really into picking up the magazines. Honestly, I thought it was just kind of a, one and done type thing, unfortunately. So
I have the Time magazines when they were doing Star Wars covers.
yeah.
But I don't think I may have 1 or 2 in between, but yeah, I didn't really do magazines very much. Just Time was the only one that was really front and center.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's go through the pictures. And so the first one here I've got the cover itself. This is the image. It doesn't have any of the text on here. Jonesy, I'm going to go to you as a field expert, subject matter expert here.
Yeah.
How would you rate the beard? How did that come out here for you?
It's looking immaculate. It definitely does not look like yak hair pasted on this man's face.
Okay, good. I know this is a point of contention for you.
Yeah.
I know you have gone through long sessions of therapy to get over the beard that we got in Attack of the Clones, but you're beyond that now, right?
Well, multiple beards we had in Attack of the Clones, yeah. But yes, It's definitely not raw and on the surface. And actually, we have someone in the chat who is right there with me, BDN 8183. The beard.
Is that Lucid?
Is it? I don't know. He says the beard. We need a ranking of all the Obi-Wan beards. I cannot agree more. We should rank all 7 of the ones in Attack of the Clones.
Oh.
And from
Wasn't
worst
that
to-
many, was it?
felt like 40.
Yeah.
Oh, but no, this is looking good. What's actually weird though is that this does not look like the same beard we see in the trailer though. Which is the only critique I have on it. It was a little bit different. This is very much a publicity shot.
Well, he knew the movie's coming out, so he combed his hair, got cleaned up a little bit. He does look a little bit scruffier in the trailer, a little bit more withered.
Yeah, his
This
face
one
looks
seems like it's
younger
been cleaned
here,
up
yeah.
too.
Do you think in the trailer that they actually, it looked like they aged him a little bit too? You get that impression?
We'll talk when we get to. We're gonna
Okay.
literally go through every frame on this thing.
Oh no, I didn't
Later.
See that. I didn't see that coming.
But there is especially when they zoomed in. I think it's on the eyes when he's looking to the little macro binoculars.
Yeah.
That I saw all the wrinkles, and I thought, man, he does look a lot older and unusually older from what I'm used to seeing Ewan McGregor. Now, some of that may be real, some of that may be digitally done. Who knows how much makeup they throw on him for his movies because they don't want him to look, older. So it's just hard to tell. But
Right.
But yeah, no, I agree 100%.
Yeah, looking good though.
Yeah, I like this picture. I love the color, the composition. I mean, it's all just kind of working for me. It almost doesn't look real though. That's the thing. Like the more I look at this, I'm like, this almost seems like it could have been done digitally, right? The resolution is almost too good, and I don't know how to explain that. So
no, it's very clean. It's very much a publicity shot.
Yeah.
So yeah,
cool nonetheless. Let's talk about this one because this is the one. This next picture here.
This is probably the most interesting of the pictures they had in the article. To be honest with you, Obi-Wan in this cave. Yeah.
He's in a cave, presumably on Tatooine. Looks like he's got a pillow there, so he's been either crashing or sleeping. Maybe this is where he goes to, watch Luke for whatever reason, and then he heads back to his place, or maybe he doesn't have his, little hut that we see later on in episode 4 yet. I don't know, but nonetheless, it does look like it's nighttime. And I think the one thing that got everybody kind of thinking when you look at this picture is he talking to somebody, and who would he be talking to?
Yeah.
Right. And without the obvious answer being Qui-Gon Jinn, I don't know that I could think of anyone else where he would be communing with through the Force, if indeed this is what's happening. But what are your thoughts about this?
Well, I mean, yeah, he's got bedding. He's got a blanket. This definitely looks like where he's camping out. And I think this is where it's important to get some context with the article, because what they talk about is where Obi-Wan is at in this moment. And this is where we encourage you to read the article rather than us kind of reading it for you, where they talk about where the writing went through a bunch of evolution about where Obi-Wan was at any given moment. And where we saw him at Revenge of the Sith was the beginning of this low period before we see this kind of resurgence. And Kathleen Kennedy wanted this very much to be a more positive, uplifting story. And so this story is going to be that changing. And so we're going to see Obi-Wan presumably rock bottom-ish, if you will, and then having to transition into this stage of hope and of what the next 10 years will look like, which will presumably take him to his hut and, make himself a little life, maybe a little wife, that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, in the case specifically though, I thought it was important for context. But yeah, this definitely looks like he might be communing. And I think, Qui-Gon's a great choice. I think that's at the top of my list and maybe your list as well of who we would love to hear him talking with.
Right.
But I think Yoda is another option though, right? Communing through the Force, we've seen it with Luke and Vader, right? We've seen it in various instances where characters can communicate across, vast distances. So that they, found a way to commune is not surprising, but I would really like this if this was also some of his training of how to transcend into becoming one with the Force and retaining your essence as well. And some of that, although I have a lot of questions about whether or not we're actually going to have him very far in that journey at this point after 10 years.
Yeah, true. I know we want people to go read this, but I didn't copy everything over. I do want to read this the part that you just mentioned, specifically around this image. And it says, Obi-Wan is lost. And this is Ewan McGregor speaking here. He's a broken man after what happened with the Jedi Order at the end of episode 3, but also what happened with Anakin, that he lost him to the dark side. He feels an enormous amount of responsibility for that and guilt.
Yeah.
And that's, if you go back and listen to the episode we did with Dante, who's in the chat, by the way, welcome. That was one of the things I think we got right. We said that he is probably going through this phase of, replaying that whole event over and over and over again, or all of the events that led up to that, and really thinking about all the clues and the signs and what he could have done and what he should have done in his own mind differently. And that level of regret and remorse and guilt is probably just weighing on him to the point of, I don't think it would push him over the dark side, but he's got to live with this. And now he's a person living in solitaire for the most part, with no one really to kind of express and speak to about this. But maybe through something like this is where he is, maybe we get him talking to Qui-Gon and just confessing about the things that he did wrong, or because he doesn't look exactly, he looks very serious here too. I wouldn't say he looks sad. The camera's too far away, but maybe that's what he's doing here. Maybe he's just kind of having a confessional, if you will, with Qui-Gon Jinn, or just another confessional. I'm sure this happens quite a bit if it is him, but I do like the idea of him just talking, conversing through the Force across the galaxy with somebody like Yoda. I think that would be really good too as well. So just so that we know that there's that connection, we got to know, he knows that he's out in Dagobah, and he's got to make sure that he's still out there in order for him to eventually tell Luke where to go. So yeah, it's probably good for them to check in every once in a while.
Right. And this is an opportunity to tie in a bit with the comic that's coming out with the Obi-Wan Kenobi specifically, where he's basically chronicling and journaling his past. And it would be interesting to see him, logging these kind of despairing moments, these feelings of despair and these feelings of guilt and loneliness and failure, and some of the things that we got from the Yoda series, or the Yoda annual a few years ago. I think those are great things to explore for him. I think this is I think the way that Ewan McGregor and Kathleen Kennedy spoke about where the character is at, I think is exactly where we want him to be, because that's the most interesting time for Obi-Wan Kenobi, right? You could argue that right when he gets to Tatooine might be interesting, you know, setting up shop and figuring out what life looks like. But really, it's after you've been there for a while, after you have settled in and the monotony and, you know, finally admitting to yourself, just having that time with yourself and sitting in it, you know, and understanding everything that went wrong, where your part was, picking it apart, going through the stages of grief, you know, and then also, then you just get bored and you just have nowhere to go with it. And I think that's the most exciting part of this. And then something triggers everything to go wrong, but it also starts to lead you down a better and brighter path, like we have here with the whole hope survives type of angle. Yeah.
Here, there's that meme of the guy that's standing behind the tree in the yellow suit. You've seen that one? And this is what this looks like. I wanted to put those up side by side, but he's, you know,
Right.
he looks like he's waiting for something. But all joking aside, again, I can't tell. Some of these look like they were publicity shots, right?
This is definitely a publicity shot.
Okay, I'm with you on this one. This one definitely feels like that's what it is. It's just the amount of open space here. I was like trying to look to see, is there an Easter egg or something hidden in there? But there's not that I'm aware of. But there's I want to bring up another quote here. That was, let's see, this one is by, crud. I don't remember who this one was. I think it's Kathleen Kennedy. Oh no, it was the writer. We'll get into that here in just a little bit because I do want to talk about, what was his name? Tolby,
Jacob, yeah, Joby or something.
Joby. Okay, we'll get to it. I can't read my notes right now. But there was a quote from him, and he says that there's passion to him. Speaking about Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Joby Harold.
Thank you. Joby Harold is the guy who wrote he along with Deborah Chow wrote the script story, whatever,
and
for
Hossein Amini had a first take. This went through an iteration of writers as usual.
But he says there's a passion to him. And when we get to see him, and when we get to see him again in A New Hope, he is the Zen master. That was a story I wanted to understand. What happened to Obi-Wan between the guy that Ewan had brought to life and the guy that Sir Alec Guinness brought to life? That's pretty intriguing. And without getting into the gory details of the article, there was a repitch of the story. And this is what Jacob Cope, oh my goodness, what is this dude's name? Said,
Mr.
Thank
Harold,
you, Joby.
Joby
Harold said, hey, this is my idea. So they actually kind of went a different direction. But I do like that because he's right. If you think about where Kenobi was at the end of Revenge of the Sith and where he is in A New Hope, yeah, he's older, he's wiser. But sometimes there's has to be something in there that happened. I would even argue he's already at that stage as well when we get to Rebels. When Ezra meets him, he is kind of that Zen master, and he's already replayed that whole fight over and over again with Darth Maul and all that. So I'd love I don't know if they can do it in 6 episodes, which is what this will be, but I would love to have some significant change, some significant event that is the catalyst for him to kind of go into that next stage of his life where he does make it into that Zen master kind of mentality.
Yeah, and again, we've talked about this before. What's the best way to help you get to that point is to have purpose again.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what we're going to see here is Obi-Wan is going to find his purpose, settle some of the things with his demons, but that doesn't mean that he's going to let go of all of it. And again, we talked with Dante, that bitterness that comes through when he's talking about Vader is definitely still there. And we can build on, now we can give that backstory to it, which I think is going to be super exciting.
This is the Jesus Christ Superstar shot of Kenobi here, which I actually love. This is another great one. We should have used this for the title card.
Man, everybody's a critic.
I'm just kidding. No, you do a wonderful job, Jonesy. You do a wonderful job with the. I'm not patronizing you just a little bit. You do a wonderful job with the title cards. Okay.
This is from my comments earlier, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, fair enough. We're even now.
But again, another publicity shot on this one because this feels like it's like, what moment is this where he's just holding it?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, granted, we do have a shot in the trailer on the planet of Dayu, and that kind of fits with this.
Similar.
But again, yeah, but it feels like another publicity shot. Yeah.
I don't know why I've got that twice in there. And here we go, Uncle Owen, along with. Now, this is the character we mentioned that was leaked a couple weeks ago. Reva. I don't know if it's Reva or Reva yet. I haven't heard anybody.
Heard it pronounced both ways. So
okay.
I'm going to go with Reva because I like that.
Yeah, Reva sounds cooler to me too. But yeah, I don't. This is if this is truly in the episode, this is very confrontational. So it seems like they'd be really close. And I don't know if this guy, I don't know, is Owen the kind of person that is going to kick up a dust storm? No pun intended. Is he going to be out there trying to like get in the face and draw attention to himself? I don't know if that, I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, maybe not. And again, when we get to the trailer, we'll talk a little bit about the snare. I think this is a shot from the actual show, because it just fits too perfectly with some of the lineup that we have when they're out in Tatooine, and
Yeah.
we've got some scenes there we'll work through. But yeah, I mean, again, we see Owen as a very crotchety old man in A New Hope,
Mm-hmm.
and so he's got to get there at some point. He definitely wasn't there in Revenge of the Sith or in Attack of the Clones or anything like that. But a lot of stuff is going down, and when you talk about things that can help him sour on Obi-Wan Kenobi and really start to turn his opinion or turn his perspective on things, especially when it comes to protecting Luke, well, someone gazing you down like that and you feel threatened like this is probably a good way to start doing it. So this is Moses Ingram, who's the actress, by the way.
Right.
And she's fantastic. So I'm really looking forward to what she's going to bring to the table.
Oh, and then I think this feels like it's right out of the movie, but we've got the picture now of him in his poncho, mind you. Love the fact that he's got a poncho on. If you're following me on Twitter, I reposted something from 2 years ago that had all the ponchos I could dig up in Star Wars throughout everything that's ever come out. And so I need to add now this man's poncho into that same list. But he's here with that Eopie. I don't know what the lifespan of an Eopie is, but I would love to think that this is the same one we saw him right off in Revenge of the Sith. I think is what he had. Yeah.
I think so. Maybe this should have been the title card. Just saying.
Well, there you go. Why not make it? It could have been just the Eopie only, and it probably would have worked just as well. Okay. This is another shot here of Reva, and not a whole lot going on here other than she's standing at attention. We'll talk about the armor in a little bit. I like it quite a bit, actually. It reminds me of certain armor sets that came out in the Old Republic. So, for what that's worth.
Right, it really does.
Yeah. Another shot here of her. Well, this is definitely from the footage, at least, that we saw. Another shot, another angle of Reva squatting down on some rooftop. We'll talk about the back. Those characters are ER, which I don't know if it's really like an emergency room or not. I have no idea, but still, the lighting. So we'll get to that too. Like the color and the lighting and everything for all these episodes. Like, I mean, this is like great stuff coming out of Deborah Chow if she's like behind all this. It's amazing.
Oh, they're using the volume still.
The what?
The volume. The
big
virtual
screen. Yeah, right. Yeah, I saw did you read that part in there where he dropped his lightsaber in between that?
Yeah, and Hayden, he was trying to keep her from Hayden because he gave Hayden so much crap.
Yeah, about losing his lightsaber.
That was fantastic.
All right, go read the article again. That's it. Those are the publicity shots, or I guess the shots that we got, some of the stills, with the exception of, let's see, this one in the cave, that one, maybe the Jesus Christ one. Yeah, most of these they're kind of lifted maybe out of the trailer or different angles or shot around that same time.
Right.
Anything else stand out to you from the article? I've got a couple more things here.
No, I mean, just aside from one of the other, it wasn't really much of an article, but the visual that came out today.
I haven't seen that yet today.
Oh, of a certain Dark Lord.
Oh, yes. Sorry. I didn't get that one in here. You're right. Yeah. I meant to pull that up. Here, we'll talk about it, and I'll see if I can get it up, because I do want to. Yeah.
Like to hear about it. Here it goes. Yeah. So in Entertainment Weekly today, they went and did a secondary article with a first look at Darth Vader in Obi-Wan Kenobi. Now, this appears to be, we're presumably this is going to be on Mustafar. It looks like he's in his chamber, his meditation chamber. He's fully dressed, as Albert gets it up here. We'll take a look at it. So it's really nothing special, but the aesthetic is very Rogue One-ish of what we had there. So if you picture that, for those that are listening, if you picture what we saw in Rogue One, not when he was in a bacta tank, but just when he was standing around, just the general environment, that's the vibe you're going to get for what we see in Obi-Wan Kenobi. So again, he looks legit. It's kind of more of a silhouette of sorts, but you could see the lights and everything on him, and it looks really good. And again, it was just, there's not a whole lot more I can say about it, Albert. There you go. Man, right on time. But yeah, so he's got a little light behind him, so you can't really, you can just see the silhouette with the lights on his, on the front. and then some red lights all around the room, and a little bit of the fog machine going in overdrive there. But again, looks good, looks creepy, fits the vibe with what we were seeing with in the trailer itself or in the teaser itself with the Inquisitors as well, with their home base there.
Yeah, I mean, this is red meat for the fans,
Oh, yeah.
100%, and it's curious as to why. We can talk about it now. In that trailer, we didn't get anything of Vader until the very end when we hear the breathing. I mean, we all knew he was gonna. I guess if you've been following the news, you knew he was going to be in that. I think for the casual viewer, casual Star Wars fan, they may not have, right? They knew that they may have known there was a Kenobi series coming out, and that's probably the extent of it. But I think that was enough. But I mean, can you imagine if they had thrown actual footage of him walking in? We would have lost our minds. And they're probably saving it. I don't think we're not going to get something actually see Darth Vader on screen as part of a teaser or a full feature trailer. It'll probably be at the very end or something. They're going to save it. But I mean, this is like red meat. No pun intended. It's like circa 77. It has feelings of like Empire with the lighting and the lights that are there. Very reminiscent of some of the stuff that we're seeing in the comic books. And I mean, this is just, I don't know, exciting stuff to have Hayden Christensen back in the costume again.
It is. And this is another one where you'd want to go read some of the article of the reaction that, Hayden or Ewan McGregor comes on set and there's a crowd of people and maybe the bit of the hubris of Ewan McGregor, like no one's paying him any mind. He's like, what is going on? He's like, usually when you come on the set, there's, stuff going on and they recognize, all that good stuff. And then he sees Vader walk around the corner or come into view. And of course, it's Hayden in the Vader costume.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, well, that was pretty blank and cool. I could see why that definitely draws a crowd.
Yeah.
I'm way secondary to the mythos of Darth Vader and just the impressiveness. And then Deborah Chow had a nice little comment in there that Hayden felt like he was twice as tall as she was in the costume.
And he probably was too. Yeah.
Probably so. I don't know how. I mean, Hayden's a pretty tall guy, but I don't know how. I thought he was only like 6 foot or something like that.
Yeah, only.
Well, yeah, for you and me, that's a big deal.
Yeah. So there are a couple of things that were in the article as well. They made mention of James Earl Jones. Just tease that the word is still out. No one knows for sure if he's going to be coming back and voicing Vader. At 91 years old, we've talked about how he doesn't sound exactly like Vader anymore. But given what we had from, Boba Fett, why couldn't they do some kind of synthetic thing or use his voice and just tweak it? I mean, heck, I can probably do it here right now and audition if you let me.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You can euthanize it up. Euthanize it. Sorry, that was really bad. You can youth it up, right? Or youth it down. I don't know which one it is, but you can just make it sound a bit more youthful. And I think that would work. So I'm going to go ahead and put a percentage at every year of James Earl Jones's life, a minimum percentage he is going to be the voice of Darth Vader. So for those at home, he's 91 years old.
Headless Ned Stark says, Hayden is like 6'1", 6'2". I have met him twice, and he's a little taller than me, and I am 6 feet. So both of you guys are very small. I get it. And no, that's tall. So yeah, I mean, you put him in that. You put him in some like boots to rise him up.
Get him some Gene Simmons boots and
exactly platform shoes. Get him in the helmet. Yeah, he's probably up there. 6'12".
Probably a good 6'5". Probably
6'12".
6'12". Yeah, nicely done.
Jeez, whatever.
Americans
in your imperial system.
But I mean, it's got to be James Earl Jones, right?
Yeah.
No one has ever not voiced Darth Vader in a on-screen show, movie, anything. Just video games, right?
Yep.
So I don't see that.
Well, no, I mean, yeah, except video games, right? He's always done the voice. Right. There was, he says, something else from the Headless Ned Stark said, not to mention he's one of the friendliest actors I've ever met. I think
he's Canadian.
Yeah, right. Those guys they don't have a hurtful bone in their bodies.
They really don't. They're amazing people.
Yeah, they really are. But the, notwithstanding, in the article, you get a sense of this too. Seems like a very level-headed, humble, grounded person, even though, he's reached the level of stardom that he has. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying he's an A-list actor. We won't start that whole debate again, like we had in Discord one year. But he's definitely a actor who's synonymous with one of the greatest arguably one of the greatest, if not the greatest, villains of all time in on screen. So let's see. There's a couple last couple things here. Just quick notes that came out of that article. Again, we said 6 episodes total. 10 years to they said it's almost the exact midway point between episode 3 and episode 4. The story that we're going to get is some bits and pieces of what was left over from the movie. So there was a movie, and that was kind of the worst kept secret in all of Star Wars back in like 2018, 2019, whatever that was.
Right.
And they went ahead and they've repurposed some of it, but for the most part, this is a new story that was written by Jacob.
Well, yeah. The original, the movie was written
Joby
by
Harold.
Yeah, there you go. Hussein Amini, I think, wrote the drafts of the movie. But again, like you said, it was a very different feel for it too. And so I think they were having some problems, and we kind of got this impression way back then too of, what's the deal with Kenobi and why is it taking so long? And granted, Solo, whatever happened with Solo was also a big contributor to it as well. But also, they just couldn't feel, and it came out in the article, they just couldn't get the right feel for for the story they were trying to tell. And so I imagine they did pull elements from that, because this thing's gone through, I think, 2 or 3 writers, even since then. And so everyone kind of picks it up and puts their own spin on it. And even when they started filming, they had to make a bunch of changes too, because again, some things work, some things don't. And you have to go with what starts to feel right. And that's where someone like Deborah Chow and her experience is really important. Along with, and someone might like this, but along with Kathleen Kennedy's experience with what is going to work and what's not going to work. Right. And we could be as critical as we want about KK, but at the same time, she has a ton of experience as an executive producer, as a producer. So her voice is welcome in the room for a lot of these, for all of these folks about what is working and what's not working.
Yeah. Speaking of Kennedy, she did chime in on, I think there was a question that was posed to her about having cameos and people show up from other series. And I think she kind of set the record straight and said the characters that we see in The Mandalorian are kind of from that era, so that we shouldn't expect to see those characters pop up in here. Now, mind you, we're many years before that. But this is part of what she's calling the prequel trilogy era. So there is a possibility we could see cameos or characters from that particular set of movies and Clone Wars and all that. Her exact quote said the debate about whether we should do that or not carried on for quite some time. Everybody within our creative team has strong opinions, and all of our fans have strong opinions. So when you realize that you're under that level of scrutiny, certainly a story point like that is going to be scrutinized at every high level. We talked about it constantly. So it's good to hear that they are thinking about this stuff, right? It's no longer we can't pull a character out of TV or we can't pull a character out of a comic. I mean, that's definitely on the table now. I think it's right. Just a matter of it makes sense to do it from a storyline perspective and not because, it's a character from a comic book or, it's just a character from a novel. That's not the case anymore, which is, we've seen clear evidence of that so far.
Yeah, and again, it speaks to the difficulty when you have material before and after, and you're trying to fix something in the middle, and how difficult that is, but also the amount of care that you have to put into it, because you're talking about the original trilogy folks, and you're talking about the prequel trilogy folks. And those folks don't always get along too well either. So you're really stuck in the middle with a character that people pretty much universally love. They universally love the 2 actors that played Obi-Wan Kenobi in live action. We also love the one that did him in voiceover as well. Yeah. But I think it speaks to that it's important to them. And I hope that people take away from that line of the article that, yes, they really do care what people think of the story that they're going to tell. They want it to be enjoyable, but they also want to be true to themselves and be authentic for where they think the character is going and what they think is interesting and what seems plausible and reasonable for where the character should be going in order to make it feel interesting and not just a rehash of the things that we've already had written about the character in a book or in a video game or whatever it is, and still have it feel fresh, but also it fits. And so I hope people take some level of comfort in that they really do care and they really do spend a lot of time talking about that. Same as we see with the Project Luminous folks.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. They speak to the exact same things at times.
Right.
Let's see, Joby Harold at one point says the Empire is an ascendancy. all the horrors that come with the Empire are being made manifest through the galaxy. So everything that was in the prequels has crumbled. The Jedi Order are all being wiped out, and those Jedi that have survived are all on the run and they're hiding. And I think that's been the premise. I think we kind of knew that. That's if you played Fallen Order or you saw Rebels, you knew this was kind of what was going to happen. So it's good to have confirmation there. And then the last thing I had here was just on Reva, where Harold said that she will contribute to the legacy of Star Wars villains in a really interesting way. It's really exciting for me to bring a female villain, and to have a dark side woman is in a very significant role.
So what are you taking from that comment? I know we'll talk a little bit more about Reva when we get to the trailer, but what about that comment do you kind of lift from that? And try to keep it in like 100 words or less.
Okay. Counting, go. Yeah, legacy of Star Wars villains in a really interesting way. When I read that, I think I fell back to what we had theorized around Reva being somebody who's got psychometry as some level of. I think later on, I forget in that article or somewhere else, I think they've already established that she is force sensitive. Okay, so let's just get that out of the way. And we probably should have talked about spoilers. I apologize, but if you're listening to this and you're okay with that.
Hopefully you've watched the trailer.
Yeah, hopefully.
Well, it's official, so there are no.
Yeah,
spoilers.
exactly. No, I mean I know but yeah. So it's so she is force sensitive. If she is hunting the Jedi and she is a unique villain, and they've somehow again found a way or found Kenobi or have a trail that leads to Kenobi in some way, which does sound like it based on the trailer and some of the things that we've seen in the trailer, unless they're kind of throwing us off there. It sounds like they are on the trail of him. They are looking for him specifically, which makes sense if Vader's wanting to get rid of him if he finds out that he's out there, right? But I think a unique character trait or a unique power that she can have is the psychometry, because we have not had it outside of what we had in the Clone Wars with Quinlan Vos, but that ability to be able to touch objects or go to certain places and kind of know who was there, what they were doing, right? Basic level, kind of high level understanding of where they were going. That would prove to be very difficult or very interesting, I think, especially if, I don't know what happens to Reva, but when we get to Fallen Order, she's not in that. She's not in Rebels. So, maybe Kenobi kills her in this, but she was the main reason why so many of the Jedi were hunted down and they were able to find them, even though they were scattered across this massive galaxy. They're not, they can't get away from her. At some point, it's just a matter of time before she catches up with them. And maybe it's Kenobi that finally puts her down and, allows everybody else to kind of live their lives out and show up later on in series.
Right. Well, and again, I think another angle for that is potentially that we know that the Grand Inquisitor came from the Jedi Order, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was one of the guards.
Yeah.
And we know from the comics that the Inquisitors in general all have come from either the ranks of the Jedi or they've been force sensitive and identified. And so again, I'm wondering if we're going to get a bit more of another character who's fall from grace from the Jedi Order. Although she's a bit young, so she would have been a Padawan, perhaps still a youngling, but probably just a Padawan still during that time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think again we might see it from an angle of, and maybe we see this from the Grand Inquisitor as well, more of that in the live action about what it is that brought them to where they are now. And kind of what that might look like, kind of more, peeling back the curtain again. Only 6 episodes, but again, more peeling back the curtain as to why these Inquisitors are who they are and why they are doing what they're doing. And there's a backstory to everything. And I think this is a character we could really gravitate to and grab onto.
Yeah. Yep.
And hey, but I know we're about to switch over the trailer, but I do have to take issue with Headless Neck Stark here. So he said Chris Pine. So this is a bit of an inside joke on Discord. Sorry, folks. Chris Pine has always been a debate of A-list and for just fun. So he said, Chris Pine is like the 4th best Chris behind Hemsworth, Pratt, and Farley. I'm going to take offense to this. My first name is Chris. There's Christopher Walken. There's Christopher Lloyd. There's Chris Cross. So, come on. There's a bunch of really awesome Chris's. And if none of those are better than Chris Hemsworth, I don't know who it is. I'm kidding. Chris Hemsworth's a god.
He literally is.
It literally is like in every, yeah. Anyway, yeah. So that was just funny.
Okay.
I was going to distracted from the show.
I was going to ignore that one because it was going to open up a can of worms again in that whole debate, but glad you brought that up.
Thank you.
And now here we go.
I expect Ned Stark to give us a revised list.
He says, just saying Pine is way low on the list. So there you go.
All right. Well, I need a revised list.
Okay. All right, let's get into the trailer.
Let's do it.
Where we'll spend the next 2 hours. Whoa, I don't want let me get the audio turned down. It's like
we don't want to
blazing loud here.
I thought you were going to try to keep us from getting
oh no,
on YouTube again. We're
come on, bring it on. They can challenge me if they want. I got this. Let me do this. I'll just turn it down here. Okay. So here we go. We open with the dust of Tatooine, or sands of Tatooine. And I'm going to say that's Obi-Wan Kenobi riding that Eopie back there.
Yep.
It's an interesting shot, though. And again, I love it. Artistically, it looks wonderful. Especially with, the sand in focus at first, and then it goes out of focus like that, pretty cool stuff. But I don't know. It's interesting read on this one, like what's going on here. You think he's just heading into town at this point?
Yeah, establishing shots.
Okay, that's good enough for me. We then flip over to a very quick shot of him coming into town, which is interesting that he would do so. But I mean, he's trying to blend in, I would assume, trying to look like the others. I mean, he certainly got the garb. He doesn't stand out, which you'll see them do a lot of times with TV shows, right? So that your focus is on them, aka right. The mods.
Yep, definitely looks like Mos Eisley.
Mos Eisley, I would agree. And he's got like these. Well, I was trying to look at what he's got on the back there. It just looks like normal stuff. I was trying to see if he has his tools. Packs. Because when I get to this shot here, this next one here, right, where he's standing here, he's cutting something.
Yeah, it looks like meat.
Yep. Looks like meat in a meat market. And then later on, when they're going back to the picture, let me show you this real quick. Sorry. I'm going to go back to the Eopie shot. He's got something red in his hand. You see that?
Yeah.
Down here. And I'm just wondering if this is part of if he got some of this meat and gave it to the Eopie or whatever. I don't know what they eat, honestly, but
possibly. I mean, it could be a job. It could be his. I don't think they just leave the meat out for people to come and slice a cut for. But this could just be what he's doing, and it could almost be like a, with all the people walking by, it almost seems like a, kind of like a soup kitchen type of line.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm wondering if there's something along those lines, which would very much fit for someone who's trying to be undercover and kind of play it low and low key.
Yeah. And that's exactly what I was thinking. Like, this does feel like, especially if you look in the background, there's like this scaffolding that's up here, this rudimentary like scaffolding that's been built. Right. So if he's gone into some kind of just trade, even if it's just food service, I mean, my goodness, how blending in would that be with the crowd? You're just a line cook or somebody that's just handing out portions of food as these workers are coming in for their lunches, right? And that's what it looks like. They're kind of like in a lunch line or heading into something. So this could be his undercover bit here.
Well, and again, I mean, a little bit later on, we get the Grand Inquisitor, talking about what it means to be a Jedi and how they just can't help themselves. They have to do good. And this could be an example of where he's still trying to give back, even if it's in a very rudimentary way.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Here's him, I guess, leaving back, I would say, after the job's over. It looks like the sun's starting to set based on the shadow, the lighting. Looks like he's heading back out of work here. Not much to that. We get the line of "the fight is done." Let's talk about that real quick. That whole line, that the quotes that we get from Kenobi: "The fight is done. We lost. Stay hidden." And that's kind of where it ends, right? Yeah. There's been some talk about whether or not that's him talking to people or who he's talking to. I didn't take it other than if he's talking to anybody, maybe this is another message that he's somehow sending out or something. But I don't necessarily buy that this is in the show either. We've had this before with Star Wars and movies and TV shows. In some of the trailers and teasers, they say things that never show up in the movie, but they make great sound bites for a trailer like this.
Absolutely.
But what do you think we're actually going to get this, or is it just kind of a recap for people to understand that, hey, they're in hiding?
I mean, yeah, there's an argument for both sides. I would like for this to be in the show because, and again, the reason why people are coming to that conclusion is because there is a certain echo when he's saying the lines, right? And so it sounds like he's in that cave that we saw on the Entertainment Weekly article, and that he is speaking to someone. So I like the idea. I think the stay hidden aspect of it is disconnected from those first two lines. from the wars, or we've been defeated, we lost, all that good stuff.
Right.
Those seem like they're together, but the stay hidden part seems like something else. And again, it could be part of a message, but again, why would he be continuing to broadcast new messages if he's trying to stay hidden? That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But again, I would love the idea that he is communing with someone. And again, this again speaks to the despair that we hear Obi-Wan in, where, yeah, we did lose, but you could also hear just the loss of hope in his voice as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and this feels like it's the calm before the storm. I mean, these shots here, everything, I would imagine this is kind of in that first episode, and we're just kind of getting a slice of life for him and what the mundane life of Kenobi is until stuff really starts to happen. The next shot is arguably one of my favorites, right? I mean, the fact that we know he's sitting here looking down over the Lars homestead, stalking, with his little Mac.
No wonder you like it. Yeah.
Inside joke there on that one too, but and so
sorry.
No, you're fine. Here's the shot. I don't understand why people are still debating whether this is Luke Skywalker. I mean, come on, how much more obvious does this need to be? It is the homestead itself. You've got two people walking out, and you've got a kid up there, and we know the kid's 10 years old. So stop with the conspiracy theories. This is definitely Luke Skywalker pretending he's in a pod race, I would assume, or just
kind of looks like it.
Yeah, with the goggles that very much look like the ones that, not exactly, but kind of similar to the ones that Anakin wore.
Are they similar? Are they similar to the ones that he had in the cutting room floor footage where he has the goggles hanging around his neck? Or no, that was a hat.
No.
Yeah, maybe not.
If anything, they look like the goggles that Han's wearing when he's doing his repairs in Empire Strikes Back.
Empire, right. Yeah,
they
good
look like
point.
that. But
actually, the most disturbing part of the scene is both Beru and Owen walking out of the hut in the exact place that they're going to die later.
No, that's true. Poor guys.
I can't. Yeah, it jumped in my head. I'm like, oh gosh.
Yeah, there's your final resting place right there.
Right. I hope you like that spot.
I was trying to see. I don't see any droids either. It doesn't look like they have any droids yet. If they are, they're down there doing stuff, or maybe they're working on the evaporators.
Right.
But yeah, this is a cool shot here. Now, whether or not we see Anakin, Luke, I think we are. I think we're going to have, like, why waste this kid? Why waste the opportunity for him to have a moment where he's talking to him, even if he doesn't know who he is, or maybe he does. I don't know. But I mean, if we're going to get Beru, or we're going to get Owen in the show, then why wouldn't we get that scene when he comes home or whatever, and Luke's there and all that? I mean, just do it.
Yeah, I mean, and you and I had spoken about, how much we would want to see Luke. And I think where I kind of stand on it is I would like to see him in the background, maybe not as much in the foreground or something where he gets kidnapped and as be on the nose about that. I really still like the idea of, well, we'll talk about it here in a minute, so I don't want to get too far ahead of it. But I don't know that I want it to be about Luke Skywalker and about trying to chase and that kind of thing.
No, yeah, I
still really want it to be Obi-Wan Kenobi. But again, with the backdrop of protecting Luke Skywalker and that he is around, he is there.
Mm-hmm.
But even if he's not necessarily part of the actual story, but I'm with you. I mean, Beru was not really in the teaser much at all, so I'm not sure how much she'll be playing in the in the show itself when we see Owen actually in the square later on.
Have they officially announced her too as a cast member?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, yep. I imagine we get some, but they'll probably, we'll see all of them. I'm going to leave that out there.
I'm pretty sure she's wearing in this video you're showing right here. I'm pretty sure she's still wearing that 70s swag that we saw in the New Hope.
It's what it looks like, doesn't it?
Yep.
A little vest there, a little denim, bell bottom pants. They're Luke is just jumping up there. I thought he was already up there, but you can see him. He pops up.
No, he's jumping down in that one.
No, I'm going reverse.
Oh, okay.
So he's not on it, and then he jumps there. He's on it. And then he gets into the.
Now that we've addressed Luke Skywalker's mounting procedures onto the hut, simulating a pod racer.
This is where we get the Lucasfilm logo, the sands of Tatooine scrolling across, and I want to talk about this too. Here's what we mentioned earlier. Ewan does look a lot older here. Right. But maybe not. I mean, he's 50 years old, I think, is what I saw, right? So
He is, but I mean, his eyes are droopy. You know, there's a lot more wrinkles. I think they did age him a touch,
Okay.
but I mean, it could. I mean, you could be very right. I mean, he is, but again, I think he always looks pretty young when I see interviews with him, and those interviews are not that old.
Yeah, he's got to go from this look to what we see in A New Hope in 10 years.
Yeah.
So, I mean, come on, let's just stop pretending this is going to happen, right? It's just fine. It's fine. It's just that we had different actors and all that. Just go with it, okay?
And again, immaculate beard right here.
Yeah, for sure. He grooms daily, at least, with the saber, just to show off. And then here comes the Grand Inquisitor's shuttle, which we've seen before, which is cool. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, this aesthetic of the two prongs is very prominent throughout this trailer, and with the design of the shuttle, you know, the facility. What is this? Is Nauru, I believe.
Yeah, the planet of Nauru.
Yeah, it's a moon, I think, or something to that effect. I'm trying to remember from the Fallen Order game. But we see this two prong that's all in an emulation of Vader's castle. So you could see the influence and the prominence of that design language of what represents Vader. Yeah, what represents Vader in this period of time, and we see it both on the outside of this facility as well as on the inside.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a little bit here too. Even the chamber that he sits in, the way it comes down, those look like inverted. You know, the same logo, the same shape is there, and another architecture, which is also really cool that they've incorporated into stuff like that. But
right,
but yeah, this is the headquarters.
There's a shuttle on there too.
I saw that.
See on the left there.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a Lambda class shuttle. Yep.
Yep.
Maybe Vader's there too.
Yeah, it could be Vader. I think those were only for like the. Well, I think they were for at least by the time of the Empire, they were only for the highest of the high kind of.
Yeah, for ranking official type things.
Right,
yeah.
to get toted around in. So it's possible it could be one of them. Yeah, there's going to be a Lego set of that one. Oh, wait, before we get to the Inquisitor here. Yeah, so this is Nauru, I think the planet. And if you played Fallen Order, you know this is the headquarters of the Imperious Inquisitor. What is it called?
The Inquisitorius.
Inquisitorius, thank you. Which is where
Fortress
they all kind of come together.
Yeah, Fortress Inquisitorius, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah, you actually swim up to it underwater, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
Something to that effect.
Yeah, we'll get to that here in a little bit too, because it's at the very end of the game that you see it. I don't remember exactly how far into it, but yeah, this is where everything goes down. This is where they hold Jedi. This is a prison. It's where they train. It's all those things. So this is, you know, Vader spends time here as well.
Yeah, and if you look at that outside, you see the red.
Mm-hmm.
It's very reminiscent of that image we saw of Vader in EW,
mm-hmm.
with the red, you know, just red lights kind of sprinkled throughout.
Yep, similar tones and colors. Yep, all being reused here.
Black.
All black. Okay, and then we get to the GI himself, which is our first view, I guess, of a live action Grand Inquisitor. He doesn't look like the one from Rebels. I wouldn't expect him to. His head is a little bulbous. Yes, I would agree. I don't necessarily have a problem with it, though. I guess, I mean, come on. I mean, it's like, you know, especially after now with Ahsoka and some of the other characters. I mean, this is just, I don't know. This doesn't bother me anymore. Like, I get it. It doesn't look the same, but I'm going to hold any reservations about whether I like this character once we see him and see the whole series. But I
agree with you. I think the only thing that's a bit when you look at, let's use like Cad Bane as an example.
Mm-hmm.
They maintained some of the things with Cad Bane, and they dropped more, I think, on this character than they had in any other instance, right? Because he had the grooves on the face. It was a bit of a longer face. He also had very sharp teeth, and this one's just kind of humanoid in that respect. So it's quite a fundamental change from the Grand Inquisitor that we see in Rebels.
Yeah.
I'll give him that. It is very, very different. And so what I'm curious about is it really the same exact character, or is it something different at this point? I mean, it's probably the same character, but
yeah,
it's a stark contrast to what we had before.
So yes, I guess it's possible that this is a different GI. I don't. Maybe it is. It could be. I'd be fine with that too. Like, hey,
I
this
mean,
is the
the
first
markings
one.
are all the same, so
Right.
it's difficult to go too far with that one.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, his forehead markings are almost identical. Well, they are identical. So
Right.
probably not. But
He's also got some badge, and the Grand Inquisitor didn't have a badge, but that could also be a differentiator between the other Inquisitors as well,
mhm.
just to signify rank, because they've all got similar armor.
His eyes are the only thing that I wouldn't say I'm disappointed in, but that was one of the cool aspects of the Grand
Yeah,
Inquisitor in Rebels.
white and orange.
Yeah, he had like that
stuff going on.
orange colored eye, and it was menacing, especially when you know his the red. He had more red, I think, around his face down here, more red up on top with his little markings there. But that contrast with those eyes and the white, that was like the really, and then like the teeth, like you mentioned. So, I mean, does the look change things? Yeah, probably. But I don't know. I guess it's
But it's all going to come down to the performance. If the
exactly,
performance,
yeah.
if the performance works, and I got to be honest, the line delivery that we have through this part of it is really, really good.
Hmm.
You know, it's really good. So I'm encouraged by the way that the lines were being read, and we'll just see how the character comes about altogether. You know, and to see if it works, and we'll be the judge of it after after we get a few episodes.
Also in the background is the fifth brother. We'll get a better shot of him a little bit later there on the
Yeah.
left hand side.
I think you
And
also
then,
see Reva there on
yeah,
the right.
to the right down
There
there,
she
you can see
is.
Reva standing. Who's this guy here? Any thoughts? He looks like he could just be maybe one of the workers with Kenobi.
It's the modifier. It's Thundercap.
I wasn't expecting that, but yes, maybe you could be right. I don't think you are, but you could be. But this guy looks like he's just I don't know, average Joe. Maybe he had some contact with them, and Riva found him, and now they're you know doing the Spanish Inquisition here. The sorry, that's a Monty Python joke, but maybe they're just interrogating him to find out where he is, or maybe they're after somebody else. I don't know. Everybody seems pretty nonchalant back here, though, too. Like, this guy doesn't care. He's drinking his drink. That's not going to bother him. Hey, before we go to the next shot, which I already did, let's talk about the voiceover here, because then we get that, I guess what I'm assuming is the Grand Inquisitor saying the key to hunting Jedi is patience. Jedi cannot help what they are. Their compassion leaves a trail. And then the Jedi code is like an itch, is where that ends. Which is good writing. I like that. Right? It's an itch. You got to pick at it. They can't help themselves. And we talked about this too on that episode that we just did, where there are probably things that he's doing that are giving him this moniker of an old wizard, the old hermit that lives out in the desert, and people are spooked by him because of the things that happen when he's around. Even if because maybe he's using the Force to do minor things and that kind of thing. So, the fact that they're kind of speaking to, at least to the fact that he can't help but help other people, whether or not he's using the Force to do it, well, I guess we'll find out. But that's definitely kind of what they're going off of and what they're using to chase down the Jedi that are still in hiding, is that compassion that they have.
Right, and it's definitely the Grand Inquisitor. By the way, it was in the closed captions.
Oh, okay, all right, well. Yeah, I mean, it was a far-fetched if it wasn't, but
yeah.
Let's see. Okay, then let's see. We get to this shot.
Like a transport.
Yeah, he seems very bothered at this point too. So I don't know if this is like maybe after that had happened. That confrontation with the Inquisitors or some point, or maybe he sees them in town. He gets out of there before things get close, and he's traveling. But he definitely looks like there's a lot on his mind. I mean, you can see it there. Or he's really sleepy. I don't know, but
yeah, I mean, it could also be him going to work, too, from the Junlin Waste or from wherever he's coming from, and they've just got some sort of steam type train that hauls people in from the outskirts of town. So it could be something along those lines as well.
I don't remember Tatooine having a tower in anything like Rebels. Even the old role-playing game, you can see it here in the background. That's a very, very big structure. If you look at just the perspective and how far away we are.
I think we may have had one in Mos Espa or something taller than normal. But yeah, you're right. That is very different.
That's enormous, whatever that is. But nonetheless, I mean, like I said, this could be the town. So I don't know if it's not if it's not Mos Eisley, which I don't think it is, because again, that's what I meant. I don't remember Mos Eisley ever having anything this like a spire of this size.
Right.
But it could be another town that we're just not familiar with, and maybe that's where he's working. Maybe he's not working at Mos Eisley. Although that would be the most obvious place for him to work, since it's close proximity to where Luke's at.
Well, but we also knew they had to journey a little bit to get there in A New Hope too, and they overlooked it. So I mean, there might be other small outposts that we haven't got as much of attention, but we'll just have to see.
There's a guy up here. You see that hand?
Yeah.
I've been trying to it goes so fast, and I can't get a good shot of it, but I don't understand what's happening there. It's just somebody laying on the top there.
I know, it looks like he's almost laying up there.
Uh-huh.
That's not ominous.
Yeah, it's not. Maybe that's maybe it's somebody from the sound team or whatever that was in the shot, and they just kind of laid down to make sure nobody that'll get rubbed out here later. But yeah, there's really not a whole lot here. Other than these people do look like workers. They look very bored. Again, everything is kind of one tone, couple tones. But yeah, there's something about his look that's troubling there. He's kind of looking down. Unless he just is like us and hates our job, and
right.
It sucks that he's going into work.
Again, he's a loner at this point too. So he's just not. He probably doesn't make any friends because he's just not sure what that might bring on people too.
Mm-hmm. Ned Stark says it could be Gene's guy. David Lozano is with us tonight. He said he's a hood ornament. I like that. Oh, Tower at Anchorhead. Yeah, maybe. If it is, it's new, and that's fine. I'm totally fine with that. It's just
right.
It caught my eye that I don't remember ever seeing anything that big.
Yeah, we keep forgetting about Anchorhead, don't we?
Yeah. Well, it's a little. We've not seen much of it on the screen. Okay. Let's see. So we get the excuse me. We get this scene here, which is very similar to the video game. So much of the fortress is underwater, and you can see there's water in the background. We've got the fifth brother. We've got Reva. Who is she?
We don't have any note.
Is she one of the sisters? I mean, she's got to be. I just don't remember which one. She's got the lightsaber on her back.
Well, I mean, I don't know if they actually have to be a sister or brother to be part of the Inquisitors, but it's definitely someone. And it looks like a species we haven't necessarily seen before either, unless because she's kind of got tendrils as well.
Yeah, coming out of the back of her head, like at the bottom though.
Yeah, so it's difficult to tell if they're kind of matted down or clipped or something like that. But yeah, it's a little bit different than what we've used to seeing. But no, there's no official designation for her that she's another sister or that she has a name. But she's definitely present in a few of these images here. So I'm assuming we will learn who she is soon enough.
Yeah, she's definitely seems to be like some kind of a muscle. A little bit later we see that. And yeah, we pointed that out earlier that inside we were getting some of that same imagery, and you can see here this throne, which I would imagine is where probably the Grand Inquisitor sits, if not Vader. But
yeah,
not throne, but that chair. You've heard of high back chairs. This is like a way high back chair.
Right.
It's very tall, but it definitely looks like the Tower of Mustafar and the Inquisitor ship as well. Anything else you want to point out here?
Nope, I think that's about it on that one.
I like the aesthetic too. It's it feels very Empire.
Yeah, I mean, it's very utilitarian, right? Very basic, not a whole lot to it. And it very much fits what I would think Vader, his kind of style is, if you will.
I like that they have like average stormtroopers just in this room.
Yeah, protecting
as quote guards.
Right,
oh,
protecting the Inquisitors.
Like, why would you put like somebody else in here? Like you're the best of the best, or dark troopers. I don't know. Rather than these Joe blows here, but
right. And we've got a little bit of chat going on about what the species is of the other Inquisitor there, and it kind of reminds me of Indira Stokes just a little bit from High Republic, a little bit.
Okay.
So, but
yeah,
that's about the only imagery. It's about the only imagery I can conjure up right now. But yeah, if somebody has a theory, definitely toss some species out there about what they think they're seeing, and we'll take a look at those.
Yeah, Dante says, I'm pretty sure we've seen that species before in live action, but I can't recall at the moment. The one that came to mind was honestly, there are several species that are shown very quickly. I think it's in Attack of the Clones as Jedi, and she looks similar to like the little tendrils in the back, but I think you're right. I'm thinking more of Indira Stokes' race there, or species.
Right.
But, okay. And there's definitely somebody, I'm going to assume, has just been hung as a public showing here.
Are they hung or are they being suspended by the Force. I mean, they're
Well,
pretty still. So
yeah, I would say based on like people, the way people are kind of hugging each other and like, I think
mean,
if this
isn't
thing was being suspended, they would have different looks. This looks like they're witnessing somebody who's just been dead and they're like mortified by it. No pun intended.
yeah, I mean, it's just kind of that's I don't know. I don't know how to feel about that in Star Wars about someone being hung. But then again, we've had spikes through stormtrooper helmets too. So,
Mm-hmm.
but something about a hanging just seems odd.
Yep.
We'll have to see.
He
I mean,
died
we've
with his
definitely
boots
seen
on
it
if he's
in-
dead.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we definitely saw in The Mandalorian where, they had people tortured in those little, it was kind of like on a stand, but they were electroshock, they were kind of almost like a capsule.
Mm-hmm.
So again, torture and things like that aren't exactly, foreign to Star Wars, but a hanging is quite unique, I think.
Oh, he could be impaled. I mean, we don't. I think he's dead. How about that? I don't know
Yeah,
how
he's
he died, but
Whoever it is definitely not moving.
he's not moving. He's dangling. So people are keep saying it's Cal. I don't think they would. It's not Cal. You're right. They wouldn't do
No.
that.
I think it's in every other Joe person.
Yeah, I think it's just exactly. Somebody who probably had information and didn't want to give it up or was protecting him. Who knows? And they made an example of him, which is seems very Empire-ish for them to do. So
Right.
I think that's going to be the case.
And again, it could be whoever that person was that the Grand Inquisitor was, interviewing, not interrogating, but just interviewing.
Yeah, this guy here.
It could be. I mean, because if they think he's hiding information and they don't like what you have to say, here's the price you pay.
Yeah, this guy right here.
So if you know something, you better speak up.
Sir, can we see your boots, please? I'd like to, if you could just lift your left leg there.
Right. That'd be nice.
No?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think you're right. I think that's him. Sounds good in my head. Headcanon works for me.
Yep.
And then, here's where we get that confrontation. Like, I mean, could Uncle Owen be more standoffish?
I know,
He is
right?
here,
You talk
like,
about someone in a pretty assertive posture.
He's got his hands on his hips.
And she's got her lightsaber out too.
Oh, yeah, she does.
So that's her lightsaber that she's, kind of brandishing there.
Yeah, man. I mean, he's, So take this scene, right? When she's turning to him, looking directly at him. He's got his little attitude with his hands on his hip kind of thing.
Got his sass going.
Kind of sass going on. And then you couple that with the Entertainment Weekly image where they're kind of face to face. And it's putting together some kind of a story. So I just don't know. I just wonder why he would do that. Why he'd bring so much attention to himself. Is he? I don't know. I mean, I don't. I've got theories, but some of them are they're very loose, and I don't think they're really worth talking about. But it is just odd for me that you've got somebody like Kenobi who is doing his darndest to stay hidden and not draw attention to himself, and then you've got Owen who's getting in the face of this group that probably has never been here. Like, why would they ever come to Tatooine? And then suddenly he's getting up in their faces and being confrontational. That just seems either reckless or he's got a different kind of. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't realize how important Luke is, and doesn't feel like there's any risk.
Right. And again, it seems like they've called all the town folk out as almost like an assembly, right? Everyone come out. We have to have a chat type of thing. We're looking for a person.
Mm-hmm.
And so wrong place, wrong time. I'm guessing a bit there for Owen, and again, we know he's a bit crotchety, or at least he is later on, but yeah.
I hope we get a different view of him though too. Like I hope. I mean, yeah, we get.
I hope we see that change from where he was. Where he was a simple guy and a bit quiet and maybe set in his ways. But I definitely want to see the change of why we see him as we do in A New Hope, because there's a reason, right? He can't. This isn't just him,
right?
And it's definitely not the person we met in episode 2. So I want to see that transition for him, and I think we're going to. I think this is going to be where we see that conflict of why he just pulls Luke away and shoos Ben away and says, "You cannot be here anymore." And I have a feeling this story is going to be that reason.
Yeah, and just to kind of take that one step further, what I would really like to see is an Owen that has fully adopted, and no pun intended, but fully adopted the idea that he is now Luke's father. Right? He is all in, for better or for worse. That's his kid.
It's been
He's
10
gonna
years.
He's going to defend that child, and he probably has some. I mean, I think back to the there was a comic series that was done by Dark Horse where they took the original scripts. Excuse me. They took the original scripts from George Lucas and they put it in a comic book form, and I forget what it was called.
I think it was called the Star Wars.
Was it?
Yeah, I think there was
Okay.
a series of I think there was a series of those that they had written based on various adaptations of the scripts. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And that title honestly is just so far out there. I don't understand how they even came up with it. But
Yeah, it's pretty out there.
no, I'm just kidding. But yeah. So that in that storyline, there is a moment where they get into it, him and Kenobi, about this very thing, about like, this is my kid, get away. How dare you come back over here? I want nothing to do with you. And he really puts him down in that. And I wanted to go back to the Kenobi book too, by the way. Don't forget. I think we need to cover the Kenobi book on this show. So before the movie comes out or the show comes out, so that we can kind of compare what they.
I think we're going to get so little crossover from the book. I
That's
love
okay.
the book, so I'm
That's
willing
okay.
to go.
No, I like the
about
book
it.
too. That's why I'm just being selfish and
Even
wanna talk
Obi-Wan
about the
gets
book.
love.
He always does. Come on.
Oh,
That's all he's been about it.
We have to appease the shippers out in the chat.
Yeah. Where's Lauren?
She's too
so
busy
anyway-
laughing about sass.
So no, really, I do want to see him as a great father figure, role model. I'm just an average person, but I'm a better father than you, and get away from my son. Kind of don't ever talk to me and my son again. I hope we get that moment, and that would at least explain why he's so put off by Luke wanting to run out and chase, go be with that old wizard, and tells him like, we're not talking about it anymore, like we're done here, kind of thing. All right, that gives you more. I think that would be some really good context for that a little bit later. So
Yeah, and I think, and again, this is a great time where Luke is unaware of danger that he's potentially in, of what Obi-Wan is, of course, trying to distract from, and it looks like we're going to hear with Dayu, but also, and that's the reason why Owen has to go and get involved in that respect too. When Ben probably always told him like, the likelihood anything will happen here is so remote. I'll just be a fly on the wall, but just his presence now is putting Luke at risk. And you're right. I think it's very much he is the kid's father. He's been there for 10 years. And even if they got a positive relationship, it only takes one time to endanger your family when you're like, okay, nope, we're done. And that's it.
okay, so let's move on to this scene. So we've already talked about the
Reva on top of a hospital or something.
a hospital of some sort. Yeah, we mentioned earlier that is the E, and that's RER. So for what that's worth, I could not decipher this one.
That's milk.
Is it?
Yep. They
That's
have
an
milk.
M?
They have several times in here. It says milk.
What in the world?
I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah. I guess the USDA has gotten involved here doing their
Right.
ad placements or whatever they're called.
We're promoting products. Yeah.
Yeah.
In Horbash.
So here's my only thing about this one is, she's up at the rooftops. She apparently is looking down. This is Dayu, new city that's been likened to Hong Kong, I think, by the writers. It's supposed to be that kind of feel, and it definitely feels that way, in my opinion.
Yeah, it definitely does. Yeah.
I have another. There's something else too. I meant to pull it up, and I forgot, but we'll talk about it here. But she's squatting down, and if she does have psychometry, then I don't know that this is how it works. Maybe it does, but then I started thinking, well, maybe she's got a different power, because if you look here, she's kind of scanning the city. So maybe she's got some other power. Maybe she's got like Superman's hearing, where she can kind of wherever she's focused, she can kind of hear certain things through the Force, or maybe she can see certain things through the Force. I don't know what that would be, but it almost feels like she is doing some kind of surveillance, and it's not just a specific location. She's just kind of panning the scene, looking for something.
Or
I don't know.
or she just saw the Batman and wanted to see what it was like to
Well,
Yeah.
this is a very
look
Batman
down,
moment.
look down
yeah.
at Gotham. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just another kind of establishing shot of her, not to take the fun out of your sales, but just an establishing shot of her looking over and seeing what's going on. And again, we know that there's a battle, presumably here on Dayu later on, and so she could be, she might have her eye on someone. She's got the high ground, and she's tracking her prey of sorts here.
maybe she's looking for the cookies sign,
Right? Yeah,
Okay.
she's confused.
She's
Where's the
confused.
Hershey sign
There's
for the chocolate
milk.
that goes in the milk?
but no cookies. Here's the ship coming in, or one. Yeah, I guess this is the Grand Inquisitor ship,
Yeah,
or an
this is the
Inquisitor
landing,
ship.
yeah.
But the wings folding up, it's kind of coming down, and we get this lady here. She's a commander of some sort, an officer.
She's a captain, and this is the the actress from Game of Thrones, I think.
Is she?
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't watch that show.
I'm terrible with names, so I forgot her name. I'm sure someone will correct us here in the chat. But yeah, she's from Game of Thrones, I believe.
Mm-hmm. And that's all we get from her. So it's very ominous. I mean, it looks like this is landing, I'm going to say on Tatooine. Maybe this is when they're first coming in.
I'm guessing this is coming in. Yep.
But I don't think this shot is her from coming off that ship because she's out here in the desert of some sort or out. And I mean, there's green.
Yeah, there's stuff. Yeah, Indira Varma is her name. Thank you, David.
Yeah. So I don't think this is, I don't think it's Dayu. I don't think it's Tatooine. I mean, it could be Tatooine. I'd be very surprised since there's very little green on Tatooine.
Yeah, I mean, there's grass and
there's
tree limbs. Yeah, yep. It seems like unlike either location. So she's got a blaster drawn. So, I mean, she
looks like she's coming off a ship of some sort, though, too.
Yeah, she doesn't look super happy.
Well, maybe not a ship. Maybe she's coming out of a bunker. Look at that.
Yeah, it's
see that right there? Yeah. That looks like an Imperial
or some sort of transport. Yeah.
Well, maybe it could be that too. All right, nonetheless,
tough to say. Yeah,
but it is a very, very quick shot that we see her, and then they transition over into her that we still don't have a name for. And again, it looks like they've got stormtroopers that have lined up some usual suspects here. Got this guy with a basket full of fruit on his head. This girl here has some crazy Cabbage Patch doll haircut going on. But yeah, it looks like they're lined them up, and my headcanon says, okay, they're interrogating yet again on the trail of either Kenobi. Maybe he's now headed off to Dayu for whatever reason, whether he's on the run or there's something he had to get out to Dayu on. But he's definitely on Dayu, so he's left Tatooine. Right. I think a lot of people have taken issue with the fact that he would leave Tatooine and not have somebody there to watch Luke. I don't have that big of a problem with it because, like I said, there's nothing that makes us. There's no reason for us to believe Vader or the Emperor know that Luke even exists, right? Period.
Right.
So he is hidden by, he's like, it's hiding in plain sight, if you will, but it's security through ignorance. They just don't know. So yes, it's risky for him to leave Tatooine, but at the same time, like, what's the risk other than him getting run over by a bantha or joining a pod race and crashing his pod? I mean, I don't know that there's anybody that's going to come looking for him. So I don't have a problem with it, but whatever, there is something that has taken Kenobi to Dayu. And again, maybe these people all saw him or had contact with him, and now this Inquisitor is interrogating this group of people here.
Right.
I don't know if this is the same shot. Again, they do this a lot with the trailers where they kind of mix and match and kind of make you put 2 and 2 together when it's really not, 4, it's 5. But this does look like Kenobi's walking around and maybe looking at that list or maybe looking at these people, but he's trying to stay, inconspicuous here.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's tough to sell. Some of the costumes aren't as consistent with who they have lined up, but another poncho wearing guy here seems like it's consistent with the marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, same hat. So.
Okay, I got a question about this. New droid. Ned. Right. There's some markings up here too, but I even when I zoomed in, the glare blurs them out. But it doesn't look like. I looked at even like the Orbish numbering, and I couldn't really tell if that was it or not. But it definitely is Ned. So that's cool. But this is the one that's more interesting here. Is that the droid's legs?
Yeah, okay. I think that's the droid. I've seen other people thinking that's a stormtrooper or a potential clone trooper cameo, but that looks like the droid.
Look at the armor. Look how thick it is. You see that? Like in the back here? Right there. Look at that.
A droid. I just can't tell what he's got in his hand.
It looks like a hammer to me.
Does it?
Yeah, like little Thor's hammer kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah, but it looks like Ned, so he might be a mechanic type droid or something like that.
And I'm wondering if Ned, my head canon goes to the fact that Ned's probably going to be a good, like a protagonist type droid that helps Kenobi out, or, I mean, who knows? I'm curious.
It's speculated that this is, it is, probably the comedian. I can never say his name right. But
Alan Tudyk?
No. One of the guys they've announced for this show.
Oh, I have no. Yeah,
he was in the Eternals, I believe, as well. So I imagine that's going to be him.
And I don't think these aren't the same scenes either, because the stormtrooper's not standing in front of him. But I was thinking maybe he bonks him on the head or whatever. But that definitely is the stormtrooper. That is definitely a robot or droid we've never seen. Oh, it's Kamal that does that? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, maybe.
Yeah, come on, Nanjiani. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. But that is not a stormtrooper, guys, or a clone trooper. That is definitely they don't wear armor this thick. I mean, that is really
I mean, I
thick
get it. It
armor.
looks like legs under there. I mean,
Sure,
it looks like
sure.
a body, you know, but yeah, the design, the gold, the blue, it looks like the droid.
Right,
And it kind of looks like that same room from a different angle.
right there, that blue, yeah.
Because you can see stormtroopers outside there at that door that's opening.
Yep. Okay. Enough of that. We've uncovered that one. And then we get this really quick shot of Reva. Looks like she's either cut this thing down or maybe she used the force to cut it down. Something happened. You can see the sparks down here.
Yeah.
That thing falls over and then we
definitely force jumping.
Yeah, force jumping and not the same shot either. Like this is
right. Or she saw the Matrix and she's a movie buff.
It's very Neo-ish for her to kind of jump like that. I'm not even looking at the show notes anymore. Oh well. Okay, so then we get the Grand Inquisitor with his spinning lightsabers, so they're back. I know people have a problem with them. I never did because I'm a huge Rebels fan.
Very unique though. Very cool.
I don't really even get so caught up in the physics and the science behind how do you fly with these lightsabers. I would like to see them do that though. They've already established that they can. Why wouldn't they? In fact, that's how they got around for the most part. Now, granted, it was for the cartoon, so you know it made well for good television and faster pacing, right? For them to kind of scoot around in these things. But I would love to see at some point these guys fly around with these things.
Right.
But you're right. I think he does a good job delivering this line.
Yeah, and you can see actually the lines under his eyes much better in this shot with the shadows. Mm-hmm. So it does give a much better view of the character, I think, from this type of angle with this type of lighting.
Okay, do you want to talk about Dome Gate?
No.
Well, we're going to talk
about
it.
What is Dome Gate?
So Dome Gate is it was on Twitter today. Everybody was analyzing this dude's head right here. Again, more on the head analysis. But I saw people saying it was Tamora Morrison's head.
It's not bald. I mean, this is not a bald head. That's hair. It looks like there's something wrapped around the back of it. You can look around the front. Looks like the jaw is actually maybe a bit bulbous, so it might not even be human.
Yeah, that was one thing too. Like I've seen the side by sides of the head and the ears, and yes, they're close. I don't think they're exact, but I'm with you. The one thing that was like made me turn off and be like, okay, no, we're not talking about the same thing. Is right here.
Yeah,
when you see that jawline.
Yeah, either the jowl or neck, whatever it is, and then whatever's wrapped around the back of his head.
Yeah. So I mean, we've heard Rex, we've heard Cody, another clone trooper of some sort. I don't know that it has to be any of those.
Yeah, I think
definitely
it
looks like
detracts if it is.
What's that?
I think it detracts if it is someone like that, but I think this is again just going to be someone harboring either Kenobi or harboring someone else. Yeah.
Yeah. It does look like it's Ndayu, just because I mean I would assume based on the neon that's back here.
Yeah.
So maybe they have caught up with whoever they were looking for earlier on back here.
Seems like it.
Looks like he has glasses. Somebody said.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, right there. Look at that.
Yeah, those little glare right there. Look at that. Yep. Yeah, there's definitely something around his face there.
Now, whether I'm not saying he's not significant. He could very well be significant. I just don't think it's. I know our heads are we naturally want to go to Tamora Morrison or Clone Troopers, but I just don't know that would be the case. I can't see it. That's a better.
Well, and again, so again, if I recall right, and keep me in check here, in the EW article, they talked about cameos and things like that, and it just seems like that is not going to be the case here for a lot of, for what this is. And maybe I'm thinking of something else I may have read, but like we seem to be trending away from cameos for Kenobi, which I think makes a lot of sense that you wouldn't have cameos as Obi-Wan tries to keep a low profile, unless it's another character that, again, like another Force user that somehow is getting involved, that Kenobi feels like he's almost exposed and has to help distract them away from Tatooine. And that's how we get to Daiyu, right? I mean, there has to be a reason why we leave here to go to Daiyu. But
yeah, so this just in, I'm changing my opinion now based on further analysis. Those are not glasses. That is actually the reflection off the Inquisitor's armor.
Oh yeah,
that you can see there. So,
regardless, he's got something on his head. It's Mace Windu. Now we've finally come full circle.
Thank you, Rob. I was hoping somebody would chime in with that. They found him. They found Mace.
They pulled his wallet out and he had a Capital One card, and it said
Oh.
Mace Windu on there. That's how we knew.
Oh man. Okay. Let's see. All right. Next scene. And we get that. So we get the whole. What is it? Between darkness and defeat, hope survives. Is kind of the tagline, I think, for this. At least for the first couple of episodes.
I like this, and I like this shot right here where you get the fifth brother coming down the street with the, with a squad of troopers behind him. It just looks. I mean, this looks like Tokyo and Hong Kong, and just the lights and everywhere. And they say milk in here too, and Mark. They say all sorts of words in here, but yeah, there's milk like twice in here.
Yeah, I was gonna go through the process of doing that, but someone else has already done it, I'm sure. And I know there's nothing hidden in here. This is supposed to be meant to be just a cityscape and with Orbish everywhere, but there are not going to be any clues.
You'd be correct. I think of the ones I've read so far, it was pretty generic, nothing really crazy or fun.
Yeah. What do you think? So now that we've already talked about the look of the other characters, I mean, this one's a little bit different too.
It is.
He looks more. No, go ahead.
almost like a flat type of face. This is the guy from Fast and Furious, I believe, the actor. So he's definitely wearing something of a prosthetic or some type of mask on his face. But I think with the fifth brother, I mean, you had a lot more latitude because most of his face is obscured. Mm-hmm. And again, he was a bigger guy anyway, and you have the hat. And so I think with this one, you have a little bit more latitude because most of him is obscured. So I think this is going to be okay, and it looks fine. I think to me, a little bit different still, but again,
right?
You have to allow for differences when you go live action. You're just not going to do it exact, verbatim. But I think it's close enough.
And to be fair, like I want to,
there you go. Sung Kang is the name of the actor.
To be fair, I just want to say, I get what people are saying. Like there's the inconsistency. I think is what bothers people, and I'm not saying I'm in this boat, but I see their point. The inconsistency when you've got some characters that make it over are almost like identical carbon copies, very minor changes, and then you have others that come over and they're changed and almost, I would say drastically. I think it's a level of perception, really, a point of view. But with somebody like the Inquisitor, yeah, I can see where it's a very drastic change where other characters that have been come over are not. I saw a lot of the comparisons to some of these alien species from previous movies and TV shows or whatever, and they look very different now. You could explain that as, well, we all don't look the same, right? Number two, those characters probably look that way because they did nothing but stand in the background, and they weren't required to run around and do flips and jumps and stunts and all of that stuff. So, what you can do with Togrutas and that are just standing there stationary, you can do a lot. You can get really intricate with the design and the look. But the minute you put them on live action and expect them to move and do those sort of things, there's got to be some allowances that have to happen, right, for that to kind of to play out. Unless you go CGI, but
right. And a great example is go look at the Cantina from A New Hope, and look at the different types of species and everything they have there, and then go look and see how they've been brought to life in other ways. The Duros is a really good example. If you go look at what Shriv looks like or Cad Bane, and you look at the Duros there, it's not really all that. I mean, there's some similarities, of course, but the coloring, the eyes, I mean, it's just very different, from what we evolved to later on. So
yes.
But I think it also speaks to just how much people love Rebels and how much people love the content, and also how much face time they had to where they were really central characters to the story, and they have been represented in not only TV shows, but also in books and in comics and other visual media too. I think it just kind of contributes to that they are very prominent in our mind. And these are the stories that we've enjoyed for the last 10 plus years,
Yeah. Okay. This is you blink and you miss it kind of thing, but this looked to be 2 escape pods of some sort.
Yeah. I think this is Obi-Wan and Yoda actually leaving after Return to Revenge of the Sith. Is actually my guess.
Yeah. I'm with you.
Because it kind of looks like Yoda's pod from Revenge of the Sith a little bit.
Yeah, I think you're right.
It has some similarities at the very least. It's difficult to tell. It really goes by fast. But that would be cool. Again, if this was more of a flashback moment, you get a discussion, then you see them go their separate ways.
Or and it picks up like right there. Like that would be really great to start off with that.
Right. Yep.
Okay. This person looks to be on the run.
Right.
He's coming in on a slide. he seems like he's. I mean, maybe he's a threat that she pulls out her lightsaber. Maybe it's for intimidation. What if it is a Jedi of some sort? He's got some markings on his hand too.
Yeah, I kind of thought it was Owen at first, but no, definitely not Owen.
I'm trying to look at the boots. If this is the guy that's hanging there, it's hard to tell.
Bootgate. Yeah, you can't really tell.
Back and to the left.
But again, it could be. I mean, this is the scene I was kind of thinking of in that same moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
They find someone, he's on the run, they think he knows something, they make an example of him. Yeah, but again, is this who they're hunting? Probably not. And again, it's kind of more the question of like, how do they get off at Tatooine now then? Is it an action sequence where they have to take off and there's there's truly a thing? And how does Obi-Wan get around at this point too? So, I mean, we know he had to be able to transport to Tatooine in some way. So does he have a ship hidden or what?
I mean, maybe it's that shuttle thing he was on here.
Yeah, quite possibly, yeah. But again, she's got a different lightsaber than the rest of the Inquisitors too, though.
Yes, she does.
So just kind of a more traditional, yeah.
She doesn't get the spinning stuff. This guy over here on the right, this old dude, he looks like that same guy that we pointed out earlier. I don't know if this
it does.
That red
this looks like the same. Yeah, this looks like the same little, I don't know what you want to call it.
Cafe, cantina.
Yeah, it kind of seems like a cafe, doesn't it?
Right there. Hold on, sorry. That area. See, look, there he is. He's got that same yellow cup in his hand too.
Yeah, and again, like you said, you can still see the awning back there. You can see the curvature. So it's definitely the same building.
This is not the same guy though. This guy's got like a skull cap on and
much more. Yeah, skull cap's a better
maybe got
example.
Some mutton chops or something going on there. All right, so going back to this then. Here we are right here. So yeah. See, there he is.
Yep.
All right, well. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I was thinking he was a Jedi of some sort. Or maybe he's just on the run. But the fact that she's got her lightsaber, it could just be for intimidation. You're going to stop kind of thing. But that's a pretty slick move for somebody just to pull off where he's running, slides up out of a stance like that.
Right. But again, we knew she was off to the right. And so maybe someone takes her, makes a run for it out of that cafe.
Yeah, cuts him off.
And she's the one to court. Of course, I don't want to be the guy that's near the lightsabers. That's a little too close to comfort.
This guy right here, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't even flinch though.
Nah.
He's like, no, it's cool.
It's cool. Yeah.
That's cool. Be cool, honey bunny. Be cool.
Drinking blue milk. Green milk. Hey, green milk.
Oh, gosh.
Green
it's
milk.
like aqua milk. I don't think that's blue. What color?
Did I just hear a JFK featuring Kevin Costner reference? Yes, you did. Your insights serve you well, Lauren. That was from the movie Back and to the Left.
They could be made to serve the emperor.
Let's see.
So I like this next visual though. So it looks like this is Reva again touching some sort of chicken scratch on a wall of the Jedi symbol. And so what do you make of this? Is this somebody that's just drawing something on the wall, or is this a symbol that helps Jedi know that there's a safe haven somewhere near? Or I mean, we've kind of seen. I mean, the images of like the Mandalorian kind of ring in my head from what we saw in Book of Boba Fett with how Din finds the armorer's new location, right?
Yeah. I hate to be that person, but I want to. What if this is like, because this is a wooden fence of some sort, which is already mind-boggling. Again, that they're using wood. This looks like the fence in my backyard, right?
Right.
But I'm just wondering. One, if it's, I mean, why would anybody put markings of a Jedi on here? And two, that this looks so done by, it looks like a kid. And maybe, again, I'm just speculating, but what if it's somebody like Luke who did this, you think about kids, right? They get infatuated with symbols. For me, it was the Twisted Sister logo as growing up. I would draw that on everything. And then it was the Van Halen logo. And then I was really into rock and roll. But you draw symbols like that and you do markings and stuff. But if you look at it, it looks very crude in terms of the way it was done. But if she does have psychometry and it was Luke, then, I think it would be cool if somehow she picked up on the fact that this kid knew or has some relationship to Kenobi or has been around Kenobi in some way. And that's where they that's part of the trail that leads to him. But the irony being that the kid itself is probably what they really are. They should have gone after in the first place, but they just don't know any better,
Yeah. I have a
So I hate to
feeling
be
this is
that person,
probably-
but that's so obvious, and I just
Yeah.
I don't know. It could be anything at this point, though.
I have a feeling this is probably not Tatooine though, and I think it's probably more with the scene that we see coming up here that this is maybe more on Dayu in the a back street or something like that. I don't remember seeing any wood on Tatooine ever.
No, that's what bothers. It looks like a fence, like a. I just don't know.
Some sort of, and again, it could just be a boarded up window or something too, though.
What's throwing me off, I know it sounds trivial, but I just it's hard for me to wrap my head around that wood like this has been used in Star Wars because I just cannot.
Does it kind of look like there's a person with a fishing pole, like that's fishing?
Yes,
on
like
the
fishing.
Jedi
I
logo?
thought it was supposed to be like a lightsaber of some sort or whatever, but it's curved. It's way too curved. So either they did this with a blindfold or it's something else. But I mean, it's a Jedi symbol, right? I just don't.
That's definitely the case. It's like what's to the right of it, though.
It looks
That's
like a
a little bit
person holding a fishing line, or maybe he's got what's her name's purple lightsaber from High Republic.
Oh, true.
Vanessa
Maybe
Rowe.
this is Mace Windu trying to do everything left-handed.
Oh, jeez, come on! I keep invoking his name.
Well, I mean, someone's going to.
Someone's going
I'm
to.
gonna say it's Mace Windu drawing left-handed.
But I think the takeaway for me is it's Riva, psychometry. Again, it's probably headcanon, but that's where my head's at.
Now, this next scene, these next two kind of shots here are interesting because I was curious about what people are going to take from these two scenes, and it's actually surprised me how much that they think the same person. It's Obi-Wan is the same person in both of these. So the person that she's standing in the alley, with a gun, it's a completely different gun than what I think we both might agree that Obi-Wan is on the rooftop trading fire with someone, right?
Maybe.
So not in this one, but it seems like the other one. Seems like the hair is there. The robe and the cloak kind of seems right. I mean, look at all the hair flying around. It's fantastic. That looks like, I think that's Obi-Wan right there. Can't see a beard, but it's dark.
It's Alden Ehrenreich.
It might
Oh,
be. It's
my
Han
goodness.
Solo.
There we go. Is that Han's gun, right? Oh, come on, guys.
But, so anyway, I think they're two different characters though, because that's a very different gun right there though. And that's not the DL-44 though.
It's not, but I'm just laughing because I'm sure they're making that. They're just poking fun. No, it's not the same gun. It's I don't think this is Obi-Wan here. I think this is probably this could be Obi-Wan. It would make sense at this point. I mean, who's going to get up on the rooftops and who's going to be, if she's chasing somebody on the rooftops here, I'm assuming that this is those. Who's going to be able to?
Though? Are we sure these are the same Inquisitors? Because why would they have yellow blasters? Or no, he's got a yellow
He's
blaster.
got a yellow blaster.
Oh no, he doesn't. He has red. They have
Yellow.
I can't tell because you're going back and forth too much. I can't tell what's coming and what's going.
All right, here, I'll play it in real time here. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay,
So he's got the red, and people with yellow blasters are firing at him.
yeah.
I don't remember the Inquisitors having guns.
Well, this guy, whoever this thing is, I mean, it's huge.
Yeah.
Like just from scale alone, like he wouldn't be able to get through the door back here that you see. It's definitely a big dude or big character of some sort.
Yeah, and it's coming from the right side though too. See, there's
Yeah.
another red blaster too.
Yep.
So he's definitely not alone,
He's in the
and neither are
crossfire.
they. Yeah.
And that, this one, I can't. It's
Yeah, I
so
can't see
blurry,
it
you
at
really
all.
can't tell. I mean, imagine it's probably this figure maybe here or this one if they are not behind cover of some sort.
Right.
Jeez, man. You guys are on a roll tonight. It's a Cloud
Right.
Rider. There you go.
Yeah, it's Infus Nest.
Infus
It's going to
Nest.
be. We're going to start having other putting together a crew. It's going to be Beckett.
So here's one thing I'll throw out there. I like Rob just said it, a bounty hunter. I don't know if it's a bounty hunter, but this thing here looks like a menacing kind of creature of some sort. Watch this. I'm see if I can get to it here. I forgot to cover this here. When we get, it's way back here. There's a shot that's on here for all of about 2 seconds. It's right here. Look on the far right hand side. I'm going to try to stop it.
Oh yeah,
Right
it kind of looks like a
there.
Wookiee.
Yeah,
Yeah, a very furry arm.
a furry arm comes into
Probably
frame
just
there.
a really really tall Jawa. Good night, folks.
Oh, that's a good one. We'll just end the show right there. But
Yeah, it
so-
does. It doesn't look quite as shaggy as a Wookiee arm.
no, I
But-
wouldn't say it's a Wookiee, but
But again,
but I'm thinking if it's like this thing is she's about to walk into it, right? And
Yeah.
it's not standing here with these other groups. So maybe it is some hired hand.
It could be the local muscle, that they've recruited to help hunt down, yeah.
And based on the arm, I mean, either she's 5'2", or this arm, the shoulder's still way up here. So this looks like whatever it is pretty tall. It doesn't look like Wookiee here, but now that I see that compared to, couple that with this, maybe that's the same thing.
It might be
at him.
Yeah, so I don't know if I call them bounty hunters, but yeah, definitely something that they've recruited. I like the idea of keeping things rather simple with some of those. And so the more times you start pulling, well, it's got to be a bounty hunter, and then we're going to see cameos and stuff like that. To me, I like a simpler, cleaner type of story. I'm really more curious about this right here. You called them pigeons in the show notes. See, I do read the show notes, but I was surprised you didn't call them convors.
Yeah, I don't think they're convors.
Because they don't look big enough for a convor, but the shape with the longer tail and stuff though, we've seen different iterations of convors.
Very true. I did not call them convors because in my head it was like, why would there be convors?
Yeah.
Other than the symbolism, but I mean, I guess it's possible.
But they're green. Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you. I don't think they're convors either, but they had somewhat of that aesthetic too. It's just kind of an interesting choice that's what they showed, flying out of some exploding cage.
The one thing that catches my mind though, like, okay, so the cage explodes, right? But look here, you see this sparkling gold stuff?
Yeah.
Right? That's the same stuff that we see back when she does that here. Right there.
Oh,
you see it?
Yeah.
The platform, that little tower or whatever that she's about to run on. Look down here under. You can't see it because of the.
Yeah, I see it though.
Thing. But yeah, you see that. So is that her power? Is that one of her powers, where she has the ability to do things like this? I don't know what that is. Telekinesis of some sort, be able to break objects with the Force, and that's what it looks like. I mean, this would be very different than anything we've ever seen because there's like some kind of visual effect to the Force being used. You know what I mean? But you can see it right there. It's a very interesting shot.
Yeah, it could be the after effects of particles of something exploding though too. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's interesting though. That does seem very consistent with what we saw before. Could be something exploding underneath it, and that's a great.
That's how I read it too.
Yeah, I think that might be what it is. And so yeah, it's this thing is exploding from down below and it's pushing everything out.
Is that somebody right here? That's a hand.
I think that's the same character. I think that's supposed to be, maybe
Kenobi?
Obi-Wan or.
Yeah. Is it this thing here that's blowing up and all the birds are coming out?
I think so. It kind of makes it suggestive. Like,
oh yeah, because look, here's the white tower.
There's
the white thing here.
Ooh, man, we are forensics.
There's the other one.
Looks like it.
Okay,
mystery
now I'm
solved.
Thoroughly confused as to what the hell's going on here.
Call Robert Stack. We have solved a mystery.
If you or anyone you know.
Yeah. And Dave Lozano, Filoni versus foul. We'll just call it a Filoni foul. Not an F-O-U-L,
I'd love for it to be
F-O-W-O.
I'd love for it to be one, a convor, but
yeah,
I don't know. I just thought it was pigeons because you got like on in New York or wherever. I guess New York is kind of whatever. They've got pigeon pens like this, and they just kind of hang out, and it's a way to keep them controlled and all that. And if this thing gets blown up and they start flying away, then that's how I put it together. But okay, and then the final shot is him gulping and looking very distressed about something.
And old. But with a majestic beard.
With majestic beard, though, still. 10 for 10 on the beards here.
Yeah, very impressed.
So
nicely done, Ewan.
Yeah. Who knows what he's looking at? Maybe it's maybe he got a message. But I mean, he's distraught. Something has got him really spooked.
Well, and again, it could also be just despair in general too, of whatever he's facing, or maybe he's just like, this is my life.
Maybe he's holding something of Anakin's, and like after he's been looking at Luke and something that maybe it's that lightsaber.
Yeah, maybe he's got the lightsaber out.
Maybe he's carrying that, and he's thinking, "Do I pass it on?" Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe it's a picture of Satine.
Well, that's
too soon.
Yeah. No, it's not too soon. I think so.
I love the logo with the lightsabers, the eye in Kenobi. That's carried forward. That's been there for a while, but again, I just like that aesthetic. And this is actually probably the coolest part of the video is how they do the Disney Plus like arc with the lightsaber. I didn't see that coming. That's awesome.
I'm Albert
Look at
Padilla,
that.
and you're watching Disney Plus. You remember when they do that?
Oh yeah, for Disney Channel. Yep.
Yep.
I like it. They did this with the Moon Knight too, with the logo.
Yeah.
And he kind of jumps across the building. Thought that was cool.
And we didn't mention. Oh, I guess we did, but we get the breathing here. Vader's breathing.
Oh right, yes, yeah, we do.
What do you think about
Yeah,
the music too? Sorry. Oh,
Yeah. I mean, the music. So a lot of cues from. I don't think any of this was new music, by the way.
no,
We
it was.
we know we had Duel of the Fates. We know we
Mhm.
had what was the one at the end of Revenge of the Sith? Anakin's Dark Deeds, and then we had not Duel of the, what was the other one? Not just Duel of the Fates, but the Battle of the Heroes. So we have those are the three major cues that we have, and of course we have the Force theme that's in there too, and
Yep.
a little bit of things here and there. I was hoping we'd get a little flavor for what John Williams has been
Yeah.
working on, but
Yeah.
but when I really listened to it and kind of pulled a few samples, I didn't hear anything that we hadn't heard before. Maybe slightly different arrangement, but yeah.
Yep.
But no, I thought it worked. It was interesting the choices they made. It was very prequels, right? It was all pretty much rooted in the prequels,
All
which
music from the prequels. Yep.
right. And I don't know that there was anything specific about it because I mean they overlaid it with some interesting things, right? So they did the Duel of the Fates. They did it over with the Inquisitors, right? And before moving into some of the other tunes, and I don't know if it's actually symbolic of anything, but I thought it was exciting. I thought it
Yeah,
matched the tone and the pace of what they were trying to show. And so I think from that standpoint, that were really, really nicely done. But again, we see this in the article and we're starting to hear it from the characters that this is very, and from the director, this is very prequel inspired. This
Mhm.
is really drawing from the prequels more so than where we're going in the original trilogy. You know, so we're very much in this transition away from the prequel. So it makes a lot of sense that we're pulling that stuff forward, at least in a teaser trailer, right? Where we don't always expect to hear a lot of unique music in general, right? Usually it's something we've already heard before.
No,
But
I
again,
think-
we get the Celestine in there or the Celeste, and that's always really cool to hear a little, the chime like piano type of thing.
Yeah, I thought they did a great job with the music. It was perfect. It was fitting. The minute Duel of Fates comes on, anytime I'm watching it or watching anything with Star Wars, yeah, it gets your blood pumping. It gives you chills, right? It certainly conjures up feelings and memories of that whole era for me, and seeing Episode 1 for the first time, and it's just so iconic. So I love the fact that they did use it, even though sometimes it does feel like it does get overused a lot in other Star Wars things. But it's just such a great piece.
Right. Yeah, and David points this out too. When that very beginning is the same type of music we have when Obi-Wan finds Luke and pulls his head back, and you hear the little, kind of the light, airy type of Celeste there. Is very reminiscent of it, but
yeah. Well, that's the we've managed to put a 2-hour show together on a trailer that's only a minute and whatever, but that's what we do.
Well, I mean,
we had the EW stuff in there too.
Right. Yeah. I mean, so actually we failed a little bit.
Well, let's go on. Let's do this for 30 more minutes then. We'll speculate now.
So I would like to talk a little bit about like the voiceover we have from the Grand Inquisitor. And we kind of briefly touched on it, but the Jedi can't help what they are. Their compassion leaves a trail, but it's more the Jedi code is like an itch. He cannot help it. And we've heard this before too with how they think that, I'm trying to think what it was where the Jedi just can't help themselves. They have to insert themselves. Where did we hear this before? It was just recently, I thought.
Was it High Republic stuff?
It may have been High Republic. Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. There is, I don't know if it's verbatim, but the message was the same.
Yeah, it may have been
like
one
they
of the
can't help
books,
themselves. They have to. It's a duty that they have.
Yeah, I mean, we know Mark Yarnrow has said it. I think we've probably seen it in some of the books too, where they're trying to distract the Jedi, from doing the things as we lead up to Fallen Star. But I like the idea though that they're playing towards the Jedi's weaknesses, or they view their compassion as a weakness, but it's also a way to track them, because wherever there's signs of good, and again, this is where you had read the quote before. This is the ascension of the Empire. Presumably, this is where we're at, kind of the peak, that pinnacle time of the Empire, where they've, the stuff they've been building up right after Order 66, and then the wheels haven't started coming off as we get closer to Rebels, right?
Right.
So presumably this is where we are truly going to see them at their strongest point. But that the Jedi are still a risk even after 10 years is really interesting. And so I'm hoping that, you know, we get an idea of why the hunt is still so important, or if it's just they came up and so now they're going to, put them out there. But I like that there's a disdain for the Jedi and calling it like the Jedi Code is like an itch. I just thought that was you can feel that history in that type of comment. And I just think that's a really cool thing to do. And the way that it was delivered by, I can't remember the guy's first name, but the actor, a friend is his last name, which I think is totally ironic. But I thought it was really well delivered. I really liked the text that we got here about, compassion and that these are all weaknesses from people who subscribe to this theory at some point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. They're all, most of them, I think all of them at least, were former Jedi or worked at the Jedi Temple or whatever.
Rupert Friend, David Lozano, man, he's a listener of the day with all the actors' names, and Dante had our back there too. So thanks, guys.
Okay, I don't have anything else to say about this. I'm excited about it. It did kind of throw a wrench in our schedule, but we anticipated, we knew it was coming. It was any day now, so we'll have to defer some of the shows, but we'll get the schedule back on track here, and then we'll do it again. I mean, at some point. I think they labeled this as the teaser trailer. So that means we will get a full trailer of some sort at some point.
Yep.
So whenever that breaks.
Again, we're kind of expecting that. We usually see that 4 to 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And then we start to see the TV spots really ramp up in those last couple of weeks.
Right.
So I think as soon as we get to about a month from now, we're going to be on high alert for that first trailer to really get dropped, that first full length trailer. So it's not far off, folks. We're really close, really, really close.
Yeah, and now too, like we may have a little bit of a void there once we get through the High Republic content that we're currently on. We may have a bit of a void. It depends between that time ending and the show premiering or celebration. So I'm almost thinking we might go back and revisit things like Kenobi, the novel. I'd like to revisit the Star Wars comic because it does have more of their relationship in there. Which I think would be interesting. And again, for no other reason other than just to kind of
getting that one will be
getting that right.
Actually.
Yeah, the being a completionist and kind of understanding the different stories as they were being told, because sometimes we do see there are elements that are picked up and lifted from that. Again, not saying that will happen here, but I think some of the more interesting elements, at least in that comic, is that relationship between Kenobi and Uncle Owen, and just how much friction there is and how confrontational they are. I would like to see, I think it'd be worth interesting revisiting that and then seeing if any of that kind of spills into the new series at all.
Yeah. And then of course, one of our favorite things to do that people can look forward to is we are going to do a Q&A show before we go to Celebration. So we're trying to figure out the right timing for that one, if that'll be in April, or maybe it'll be maybe a week or two after we get a full trailer. So be on the look for that. Start, writing your questions down, things you want to get over to us, and we'll give you guys at least a couple weeks there to get ready and send us things in before we do that show. But Q&A shows are always one of our favorites. You guys are literally probably one of the smartest audiences I've come across in the Star Wars podcast community, and we appreciate all the things and how much detail and thought goes into the questions you guys have. It always spurs a lot of great conversation. So be on the lookout for that too, probably in about a month's time or so. I'm looking forward to that. I love the Q&A shows.
No, I do too.
Although we almost have to prepare for those sometimes harder than the regular show.
Yeah.
People bring out some good stuff. We have to go back and look
thought about that. Let me think about that one.
Right. Sometimes it's just trying to read the question and understand what's being said.
Well, that's true. That's part of it.
That's always what
decoding it.
How can people get in touch with us, Albert? Great question. So earglumedia.com/Discord if you'd like to join the chat with us in Discord. Of course, a lot of great conversations about Kenobi. We've had some new people joining. It's fantastic. We've had a lot of fun on the Film Appraisers channel lately with some new trailers that are dropping. earglumedia.com/Discord. We have a bunch of great shows on Earglue Media Network. So earglumedia.com is the best place to go find all those. Screen with Ryan C. Showers is fantastic. He's killing it. The Film Appraisers is always awesome content. If you like whiskey, we've got Barrel House. If you like History Girls at the movie, a historical aspect of movies, Petticoats and Poppies, and of course we're on there as well if you like us at all. And so definitely want to invite you out to the website. Check us out on Discord. Of course, all of our social media usually is the Cantina Cast or Cantina Cast. So just give us a search there. And again, if you like what you heard and you'd like to either contribute or get some bonus content, we'd love to have you in our Patreon community, patreon.com/thecantinacast.
Well done.
Did I get everything? We don't advertise the phone number anymore. Actually, what's funny is I think Google wants to kill the phone because we haven't used it.
No, I re-upped it, so we're good.
Oh, did you? Oh, we're safe.
We have a phone number if you want to leave voicemails or send us text messages that are inappropriate. Whatever you want to do, it's totally fine.
What's that phone number, Albert?
Oh, I have no idea. 817 Cantina Cast? I don't know.
Something Cast, yeah.
Something Cast.
Wow.
We should promote it more. We really do. We just don't promote it enough. But
well, people don't like using a phone anymore.
I know.
You can get text on there, right? I don't know.
Yeah, you can send us. I guess you can send us text messages. You can send us pictures.
Check our show notes, folks. It's always in the show notes. So if you want to send us something that's family friendly, that would be
and
great.
we have a way to put it on the. We can play the audio too. So if you want that on there, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
You get nothing for this other than just the glory of being on the show, immortalized forever in the annals of the Cantina Cast.
Yeah, we're sorry.
So
you don't have to threaten people.
It's not a threat. Okay. Let's get out of here.
Wait, is this where I make a fool of myself and try to name all the people that we had? We had
a lot of people. Jonesy. So who was with us tonight?
Stephanie, Jonathan, Lucid Truth was coming in an obscure name. Lauren, Dante, Connor, Keaton. Oh goodness, Risk, Hard Countered. Dante. I won't say Dante's name like 7 times. Headless Ned Stark. Great conversation, except for the Chris comment that wasn't cool. Qui-Gon J, and again, thanks for the review, Qui-Gon J. Everyone leave us a review if you have a chance. Thank you very much. We also had David Lozano. Thanks for all the great comments, David, as well. A lot of fun. Matthew Yarbrough joined us a little bit later on, so appreciate that as well. And I think that is about... Oh, Rob. Rob's always... I mean, he always shows up, like, chimes in at the
right
very
time.
end. Yeah, like he gets in right at the moment to get his name in there in the chat. So that's some of the people we had in there. We had a great following going on elsewhere of people in the background. So certainly chime in on the chat if you'd like to, if you can. I know sometimes over in Twitter and stuff they don't enable that, but Facebook and YouTube and Twitch they certainly do allow you to. So you might check those out if you're viewing on Twitter.
Sorry, 3 more people: Cody DeYour, Leland Henry, and Richard Williams all stop by on Facebook and just give us a thumbs up. So,
thank you.
Appreciate that. Yep. Thanks for doing that, guys.
Great.
Okay.
Anyway, so again, thanks everyone. We appreciate you coming out.
Yep. We'll be back Sunday. Is that where we're doing Sunday.
Yeah, we're all backwards now on what's a Patreon show and what's a regular
We'll figure it out. It's something Markion Row. Okay. It's either going to be Markion Row from the novels or from the Fallen Star. Or it'll be Markion Row from the Eye of the Storm comic, which I'm thinking we do that first. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But it's going to be Markion Row content of some sort on Sunday night. So feel free to join us for the live. If it's a Patreon episode, we do those live. So even if you're not a Patreon subscriber, you can join us for the live shows and watch that. Otherwise, you've got to be subscribed to get that show. So,
and again, that's why you want to be on Discord, because we do post the link to YouTube and Discord.
Yes.
It's also, if you're on YouTube, make sure you go and subscribe to the show and hit the bell for notifications, because we will post it there. So you want to get that notification, because as soon as the show is over, by that next day, we've already, marked it as private, and it's only for Patreon from there on out. So if you want to see the show live, we'd love for you to join us, but YouTube or Discord about the only place you can get that link.
And I've got new credits that I will be updating, and I've started the image or the video for the Kenobi stuff that we'll be using as we break down that series. So for now,
we'll have that in May, I guess.
In May, yeah, more or less. No, it'll be sooner than that. But for now,
you're really hard time today.
I know. I've been busy. There's been so much going on. So, okay, let's get the heck out of here. We'll see you guys on Sunday.
You're still listening? Wow. That's amazing. Well, I'm here to give you the disclaimer. Normally we do a big, long, drawn-out disclaimer thing saying what's what and who's what and all that other stuff, but I think you guys kind of know that Lucasfilm and Disney have no affiliation with us at all, and we have none with them. We talk about Star Wars, which is their property, and all that other good, fun stuff, but I think you can tell which is our stuff and which is their stuff. If you can't, well, then send a lawyer to send an email to me, and I'll be glad to chat with them. Other than that, you know what's what, so that's your disclaimer.